and happy to see our fans over there on the grandstands. Hello, everyone. I'm just taking my time and I'm willing to join you really pretty soon.
Thanks, Shepard. So we are just over 5 minutes.
What a fantastic race.
We are underway with our first race of the day. It is final B of the under-23 women's single sculls.
Rozpoczął się pierwszy wyścig ostatniego dnia zmagań w ramach młodzieżowych Mistrzostw Świata. To finał B, jeśli chodzi o rywalizację kobiecych jedynek.
6 boats competing here. They raced in the heats in the final, which gave us our times then and the qualifiers into the A final later on today and this B final here. So they've been waiting for since Thursday to get back on the water. In lane 1 we have Morocco, lane 2 Slovenia, lane 3 Uruguay, lane 4 South Africa, lane 5 Italy and lane 6 Peru. So just checking the details, all cleanly off to a great start. It looks like the Uruguayan sculler Chloe Caldora in lane 3, just opening up a very small lead over the chasing pack. It led out at the moment right beside her South Africa. They look like the 1 and 2, and then it is Slovenia, Morocco, Italy and Peru. So it's going with form at the times that we saw in the heats on Thursday, with the 2 center lanes leading it out.
Na torze pierwszym oglądamy w akcji Marokankę, tor drugi to reprezentantka Słowenii, na torze trzecim Urugwaj, tor czwarty to Republika Południowej Afryki, na torze piątym płynie Włoszka i na torze szóstym reprezentantka Peru. Jeśli chodzi o taki teoretyczny rozkład sił, to warunki gry w tym wyścigu powinny dyktować zawodniczki płynące na tych środkowych torach trzecim i czwartym, czyli reprezentantka Urugwaju Chloe Caldora i reprezentantka Republiki Południowej Afryki Daniela Price-Hughes. One miały zdecydowanie lepsze czasy od pozostałych rywalek w tych wyścigach eliminacyjnych, no i one są tutaj faworytkami do zwycięstwa w tym finale B. Rzut oka na to, co dzieje się na dystansie, bo panie pokonały już mniej więcej 400 metrów, no i z przodu rzeczywiście Urugwajka Chloe Caldora. Ona jest pierwsza po dystansie 500 metrów.
So Thursday is a long time to be waiting around to get back out racing. These crews really itching to get out there and compete against each other. It is the Uruguayan sculler coming through the 500-meter mark ahead of Ruby Kopp of Slovenia, daughter of Itzhak Chop, legendary sculler, in second place at the moment, and the best person to tell us how the race is phasing out. We're going to check in for the first time today with Andrea.
Well, I wonder if the Slovenian athlete had any words of wisdom from her parents. I always think it's a double-edged sword. If you have a family that have success internationally, of course you have that insider info, but you want to get out here and you want to write your own story. And so that's what Slovenia is doing right now, right next to the Uruguayan athlete in the center in the single sculls. And as you said, long time to wait, but also a long, lonely road in the single sculls. They are 27 feet long. These carbon fiber shells are designed to do one thing well, and that's be as light as possible. They're only 31 pounds, and they have to hit that minimum weight, and quite narrow, only about as narrow as 10 inches in some locations, because what they're designed to do is just slice through the water. And then the athlete's job are to try and keep the boat running high out of the water, not bouncing up and down, not a lot of vertical force, but instead horizontal force, placing your blade and pushing really level past it. Speaking of level, now Slovenia has not just pulled level, but pulled ahead of Uruguayan athlete. Those two making a stamp on the competition as they're coming up to the 1,000-meter mark. I can see them right now wearing their kit from their nation. What an important moment that is to put that on for a B final race. Slovenia was fourth in the double the 24 U23 European Championships, and coming through the 1,000-meter has actually opened up open water ahead of the Uruguayan athlete, U19 bronze medalist in 2023. Her very first U23 race, although she did some senior racing at the World Cup in Lucerne and the World Cup in Varese.
No i przekroczyliśmy już półmetek rywalizacji skifistek w finale B. Ruby Kopp ze Słowenii, jak na razie bezkonkurencyjna, przyspiesza, to trzeba jej oddać, bo na pierwszym pomiarze usytuowanym na 500 metrach, no to tam ona traciła ponad 2 sekundy do Chloe Caldora, płynącej na torze trzecim. Gdzieś w to wszystko zamieszana była także Danelia Price-Hughes. Teraz Ruby Kopp prowadzi i to dosyć wyraźnie, bo to już jest przewaga około 3 sekund nad drugą Urugwajką i około 7 sekund nad przed trzecią zawodniczką z Republiki Południowej Afryki. Na co warto zwrócić uwagę, szanowni państwo, to na pewno na fakt, że Kajorda i Price Hughes rywalizowały przed rokiem na mistrzostwach do lat 19. No, ogólnie jeżeli chodzi o Chloe Kajordę, no to ona jest brązową medalistką z 2023 roku. Z kolei Daniela Price Hughes ma na koncie srebro sprzed roku, więc na pewno tutaj możemy mówić o wielkich wschodzących talentach. Jak na razie te talenty za Ruby Cop ze Słowenii. Na dalszych miejscach Gemma Ginelli, to jest tor 5, Luciana Zegarra z Peru na torze 6 i płynąca na torze 1 Zainab Jabur.
And down and perhaps out about 7 seconds and falling behind is a rising star from South Africa, Daniela Price Hughes. She does a lot of training out of Leander Boat Club in England. Fun fact about Leander Boat Club, it has more medals, Olympic medals, than any other club in any other sport. So an amazing place to train, and certainly a depth of talent there. She stroked the women's quad at the Henley Royal Regatta, also in England there on Henley-on-Thames, and she has a silver in the U19 from 2024. So again, first time also stepping up and into this U23 pool. And I said down and maybe out, but I'm going to take that out back, because she's starting to reel in now. The athlete from Uruguay closing that gap, as Chloe Caldora just can't keep up with the gears that the Slovenian athlete Ruby Kopp found. And I mean, if you're able to find speed in the last half of the race, that tells me that you really understand what gears you have. You're fine getting stuck into a really nice rhythm. And what a privileged place to be, Richie, at the head of the field where you can fend off attacks. And great to see this much open water. Do you think that she's taking her foot off the gas in the Slovenian boat?
Not at all. I think she'll know that the finish line's in sight. Those all-important red buoys are coming up soon, and what a mental boost it is when you get there and you have clear water back to your nearest component. She timed it well coming through 500, moving from second into first. So Ruby Kopp leading it out in full control here. A little bit further back then, it was the Uruguayan sculler in second ahead of South Africa, but we saw the South African sculler put on a squeeze. She's got an overlap now and coming into challenge for second place.
Słowenka Ruby Kopp miała jakieś poważne problemy w wyścigu eliminacyjnym, bo wtedy wypadła bardzo blado, potrzebowała ponad 8 minut, by pokonać dystans 2000 metrów. Dzisiaj radzi sobie z tym zdecydowanie lepiej i płynie po zwycięstwo w tym finale B. Na kolejnych pozycjach w tym momencie reprezentantki Urugwaju i Republiki Południowej Afryki, czyli te zawodniczki, które miały tutaj dyktować warunki. No i one na podium staną, ale raczej na pewno nie na jego najwyższym stopniu.
The finish line is in sight for Ruby Kopp of Slovenia. She powers on here. Clear water back then to the South African sculler. Really solid 500 from her. Sees her move from third place into second, ahead of Chloe Cardora of Uruguay. Our early leader now pushed back into third. They're the 1, 2 and 3. Further back then to the Peruvian sculler, who has moved into fourth place, it looks like, ahead of Italy and Morocco bringing in the finish. But they're crossing the line. It is going to be Ruby Kopp placing 7th overall in the women's singles sculls, ahead of South Africa, Daniela Price Hughes in second, and Chloe Cardora of Uruguay. They're the 1, 2 and 3.
Zdecydowana większość zawodniczek minęła już linię mety. Poczekamy jeszcze dłuższy moment na Marokankę Zainab Jabur, ale jak widać Maroko to jest kraj, w którym wioślarstwo dopiero raczkuje, dopiero się rozwija. No i reprezentanci tej nacji pewnie potrzebują trochę czasu, by wskoczyć na taki poważny międzynarodowy poziom. A jeśli chodzi o ostateczne rozstrzygnięcia tego finału B w rywalizacji kobiecych jedynek, to najlepsza była Słowenka Ruby Kopp. Drugie miejsce dla Danieli Price Hughes z Republiki Południowej Afryki. Na trzeciej pozycji finiszowała Urugwajka Chloe Caldora.
So first race is completed there. The B final win there for Slovenia, South Africa second, Uruguay in third. And already underway is the next race, the B final of the men's singles sculls. They're gone through the 1,000-meter mark, so we're going to head straight up and pick up the action.
Well, there's two boats out in front, and no surprise to me to see Marco Selva leading the pack. He has a bronze medal in the quad, but most importantly has been showing phenomenal speed here and had a heartbreaking semifinal where he's pushed out by Germany Germany, despite such a strong race. He was first at the 1500 meters, so that will be flashing through his mind on this race. Right now, running with him, Uruguay.
Jeżeli chodzi o rywalizację w finale B panów, walka o 7. miejsce trwa w najlepsze. Marco Selva z Włoch na torze trzecim, w tym momencie zdecydowanie na pierwszej pozycji, choć Luciano Garcia płynący na dość niekorzystnym torze 6. Urugwajczyk też stara się mocno trzymać to tempo. Niewykluczone, że będzie w stanie na dalszych metrach zaatakować Włocha. Trzeba przyznać, że Selva to brązowy medalista z czwórek z poprzednich mistrzostw świata do lat 23. Też swego czasu był mistrzem do lat 19 właśnie wśród skifistów, także on wie, jak się wygrywa. Na pewno też ostatniego słowa nie powiedział Aaron Andries, który rok temu był mistrzem świata. Teraz pozostała mu jedynie walka o miejsce na podium w finale B.
Another athlete that wants to prove that they're better than their past performances at this event is probably Aaron Andries from Belgium out of lane 5, bronze medalist last year, and disappointing perhaps for him to find himself in the B final, but he currently is doing the work through the middle 1,000. He was 6th at the 500, nice slow start, 3 seconds behind, now vaulting himself into 3rd, and as we watch here, starting to get himself within striking distance of 2nd place in Uruguay. Aaron Andries, a heavy favorite in this event, U23 gold in the doubles in 2022. He had the fastest qualifying time where he pushed past Germany, who is now in the A final when their fortunes reversed during the semi-final. So now the job, if you're in a race that you don't want to, that you had hoped not to be in, the job is to make sure that you still have a personal best, because that's what makes the most importance at the end of the day. Through the 1500 meter now, let's take a look at the rankings. It continues to be Italy, Marco Selva anchored at the front, Uruguay starting to fall behind, Belgium sneaking up to now put himself in position to be part of the conversation, Lithuania running 4th. That Lithuanian athlete is a European under-19 athlete who won this B final.
So you mentioned, Andrea, there's some familiar names that we thought might be in the A final, not getting through the qualifications in the semi-finals yesterday. Such tough racing coming through. Heats on Thursday, quarterfinals Friday, semis, and now into the B final here. So the racing for pride and leading it out. Marco Selva running an absolutely fantastic race, dominating in the centre of the course. But Belgium, such a charge coming from Aaron Andries in lane 5. He's now coming up and challenging the Italian as they run into the line.
Cały czas z przodu w tym finale B męskich jedynek Marco Selva z Włoch, ale turbo doładowanie włączył reprezentant Belgii Aaron Andries płynący na torze 5. No i stawiam taką tezę, że to on będzie cieszył się z 7. miejsca i zwycięstwa w tym finale B.
A glance over to the right from Aaron Andries, looking at where is the Italian sculler, and he has powered through just in the last few strokes. He's taken the lead, and he's going to take 7th place overall, and the win in final B, the men's under-23 single scull. Finish line inside, it's going to be Belgium taking the position just by a length of clear water. Back to Italy in 2nd, and then it is the Uruguayan sculler coming up to take 3rd. They're the 1, 2 and 3 ahead of Lithuania, South Africa and Hungary, closing out final B of the men's single sculls.
Potwierdziła się moja teza, drodzy Państwo. Aaron Andries bardzo podkręcił tempo na ostatnich kilkuset metrach, no i wręcz połknął reprezentanta Włoch. Także pierwsze miejsce dla Belgii, drugie dla słonecznej Italii. Na 3. pozycji w tym finale B męskiego skifu finiszował Luciano Garcia z Urugwaju.
Hello everyone, we're here with Peter, fan from Germany. Schönen guten Tag.
Ja, guten Tag auch.
Okay, so we are waiting for first starts of German team today. What are your predictions? How many medals will you take home today?
All. And I suppose, and I hope that we will also get some first places. Yesterday we had 2 bronze and 2 second places, and today there must be for the German 8 must be a good place, and especially for the comrades from my I suppose that we in the 4th scull we got also a medal. They should do it. They are able to do it.
Well, you're from Berlin, where rowing is very strong.
Yeah, we have about 70 rowing clubs, and so there's a big competition even within the city. And for example, there's one girl from the other rowing club, Ruder Club am Wannsee, who is running today in the scull lightweight women, two without cocks. And she's also very good. And I hope she will win also.
Okay, we will see. I know that you have a great evening yesterday. You've been to a concert. How do you like Poznań in general?
Yeah, it's the first time I came here. For me, it's easy because 3.5 hours by car, and I like it very much. By chance I met a friend of mine from Torun who is organizing a big event, marathon from Torun to Bydgoszcz every year, 40 kilometers, and he was here. By chance I met him on the street. And I come I like to come to Poland for sporting.
You're always welcome to Poznań. Thank you very much. Vielen Dank.
We are underway with the next race, which is final B of the women's under-23 quadruple sculls. You saw the crews just making some last adjustments there, the bow person just making some little touches to make sure that the boat is perfectly straight, but they've gotten off cleanly here. 8 crews contested the early round, narrowing down to 6 in the A final, 2 in the B final, and it is Switzerland and Romania, a 2-boat race here. Swiss were faster out of that heat. Let's see how we get on now as final B makes its way down to us.
Rozpoczął się już trzeci niedzielny wyścig. To finał B, jeśli chodzi o rywalizację kobiecych czwórek podwójnych. No i nie oszukujmy się, to jest wyścig, który zapowiada się najmniej emocjonująco, najmniej interesująco, jeśli chodzi o niedzielny rozkład jazdy, a to dlatego, że w akcji oglądamy tylko 2 osady na torze pierwszym. Płyną reprezentantki Szwajcarii, tor drugi to Rumunia. No i jeśli chodzi o taki teoretyczny układ sił, o to kto w teorii przynajmniej jest faworytem, to w wyścigach eliminacyjnych i półfinałowych lepiej prezentowały się Szwajcarki. To właśnie zawodniczki spod znaku Białego Krzyża pływały szybciej, no i to one mają apetyt, by ukończyć rywalizację w Poznaniu na torze regatowym Malta na 7. miejscu, bo właśnie o to miejsce te 2 osady w tym momencie rywalizują. No i potwierdza się to, drodzy Państwo, bo panie pokonały już mniej więcej 300-400 metrów. Szwajcarki około 20 metrów przed reprezentantkami Rumunii.
So the Swiss off to a lightning start here. They've come off the start, settled into 39 strokes per minute, and they come up on the 500-meter mark. They've opened up a well-established lead here of clear water, but the Romanian crew still within striking distance, but down at 30-35 strokes per minute, not matching on the boat speed. So all to play for here. They're going to have to make a big move now to stay in contention with that fast-running Swiss crew.
And really tough to make sure that you're racing your own race, especially when you feel like you're down so early in the race. But the women's quad is quite a technical boat to race. You have to move through all 4 of the drives, the phases of rowing at the same time. So there's a catch, which is when you put your blade in the water. You just want to have the water cover the blade, not go too deep. The drive, which is when the blade is moving through the water, or more importantly, the boat is moving past the blade. That's initiated by your legs, opening up your trunk, and the arms just finishing off the stroke, only generating about 20% of that power. The finish, when you take the blades out of the water, and then the recovery is as your blades are out of the water, you're moving back up towards the catch, and that is actually when the boat is moving its fastest, is when the blades are out of the water. A little contradictory, but it tells you why all four of those phases, getting them all right, are needed to make the boat sing through the water, and certainly the Swiss crew are doing just that. Lotta and Seriana were in the U19 in the women's quad that came 8th last year. And Zoe here in Bao, she said that her parents were umpires, so she grew up watching rowing as a child. Poor dear probably didn't have a chance, was destined for rowing, and right now destined to go through the 1,000-meter first here. In stroke of that Swiss crew, Florina Pariolo, her last race was in 2023 in the U19. She was 6th in this boat, the quad, so she clearly knows how to stroke a crew well. Romania now coming through the line as well, about 3 boats of open water here. Romania had gold last year, but of course this is a new crew, and in fact they're all making their international debut last year, but they were in sweep boats, so now stepping into the sculling boat here. All long, lean athletes. Romania tends to value kind of watts, water power per kilogram. We see a lot of lean athletes, but we also do see a sprint, so we'll keep our eye on that.
Wiele wskazuje na to, że kibice ze Szwajcarii mogą odetchnąć z ulgą, wszak w tym momencie około 10 sekund przewagi ma ich osada nad osadą rumuńską. To na pewno jest może nie zaskoczenie, bo mamy tutaj do czynienia z dwiema drużynami, ale pewnie dwiema młodymi drużynami, ale pewnie i Szwajcarki, i Rumunki chciałyby znaleźć się w finale A. Pozostała im rywalizacja w finale B i na pewno trzeba powiedzieć, że duży potencjał ma zarówno pierwsza drużyna, jak i druga. Wszak jeżeli chodzi o Szwajcarki, no to mówimy tutaj o zawodniczkach, które płynęły wspólnie chociażby na mistrzostwach do lat 19 rok temu i 2 lata temu. Mówię tutaj o Serainie Stirinman oraz Florinie Parillo. One zajęły 6. i 8. miejsce. Później dołączyła do nich Lotta Plock, a także z czasem Zoe Her i możemy oglądać właśnie taką załogę w tym momencie. Załogę, która ma około 58 metrów przewagi nad Rumunkami. Rumunki rok temu, 2 lata temu sięgały po złoto na mistrzostwach do lat 23 właśnie w tej kategorii. Wcześniej mieliśmy do czynienia ze srebrnym medalem. No, teraz tego medalu nie uda się zdobyć, ale kto wie, być może właśnie Delia Mirabella Gradinacius, Anna Maria Matran, Juliana Izabela Boldea, także Georgelika Stoica będą w stanie sięgać po medale na kolejnych imprezach. Ten występ na torze regatowym Malta ma dać im niezbędne doświadczenie, by sięgać po medale w przyszłości.
So Romania continues to fall farther behind here, hopefully being really internal and focusing on having their best race. Our coaches will always remind us what is the definition of success. It's not about the outcome, it's about the process. So are they hitting all of the changes and technical changes they want to do? This is going to be the last time we see Romania on the water today, so a big round of applause for them. They're typically an amazing sprinting crew, and that's why they got a U23 world's best time in St. Catharines last year during the World Championships. I asked someone what makes Romania such a good sprinting crew. They said, well, it's right in the word name, isn't it? Romania. But over to the finish tower, and Zoe here will be the first to cross the line there. She has a great quote. Shogi helft Emma, Swiss chocolate always helps.
Two great pieces of information there. Romania and Swiss chocolate getting you to the finish line. Is Switzerland powering home here? They raced in the heats on Thursday and they got that fastest time against the Romanians. Clear water ahead now. They power up. They're pushing to see what time they can get here, and I'm sure they'll be comparing it to the A final later on just to see how far off the mark are not. They were unlucky not to make it into the A final, but they're just coming into the finish looking good for Switzerland ahead of the Romanians.
Szwajcarki minęły w tym momencie, dosłownie w tej chwili linię mety, no i to oznacza, że właśnie Szwajcarki kończą rywalizację w kobiecych czwórkach podwójnych na 7. miejscu. Ze sporą stratą do mety dopływają w tej chwili reprezentantki Rumunii. Dla nich miejsce 8. Te dwie osady nie są zadowolone, że płynęły w finale B, no ale tak poukładała się rywalizacja na torze regatowym Malta w Poznaniu. Finalnie z 7. miejsca cieszą się Zoe Her, Seraina Stirniman, Lotta Plock i Florina Parillo. Tak wyglądał skład szwajcarskiej osady.
So a good win there for Switzerland over Romania in the B final of the women's quads. Now we're going to head up and pick up the next race. It's the B final of the men's quad. 6 boats contesting this one out.
Przed chwilą oglądaliśmy finał B, jeśli chodzi o kobiece czwórki podwójne. Przed nami finał B w męskich czwórkach podwójnych. No i tutaj będzie już zdecydowanie ciekawiej, bo o jak najlepsze miejsca walczy 6 osad.
Andrea, looking good for Australia and so far leading it out against Greece.
Well, and they were one of the fastest crews in the semifinal. They just about caught the individual neutral athletes' heartbreak just at the end, relegating them into the B final. Let's take a look to either side. Outside of Latvia, who seems to be running 6, they are under threat by that Greek combination. They also had 2 crews on the senior circuit this year as well. It's a very young crew with the stroke just at 16 and 3-seat at 17. So plenty of maturity despite their young age. Who's else running with them? Belgium right there, just pushing ahead of USA. 3 return for another U23, among them 2 from Yale, and James Fetter in 3-seat. Stanford walk-on. He just started sculling last year, so what a place to be here in the B final. Davis Kelly is the stroke of that. He's a 2-time U19 athlete making his U23 debut, and right now just overlap with Australia, who seem to try and stamp their dominance on this, but they haven't managed to break free of the chasing pack.
Jak na razie niepodważalna pozycja Australijczyków, którzy na półmetku wyraźnie prowadzą przed resztą stawki, ale ta walka o drugie miejsce wygląda naprawdę emocjonująco, pasjonująco, wszak 4 łodzie płyną kulka w kulkę. To, na co chciałbym zwrócić uwagę, to, szanowni państwo, reprezentacja Grecji płynąca w tym momencie na torze pierwszym, bo tam mamy do czynienia z 2 zawodnikami z rocznika 2008, a więc naprawdę młoda załoga i co ciekawe, zarówno Muselimis, jak i Janulis ścigali się także w Lucernie już w zawodach Pucharu Świata, także mówimy tutaj o bardzo młodych prospektach, którzy ścigają się nie tylko na poziomie młodzieżowym do lat 23, ale także i z seniorami. Jak na razie miejsce drugie dla nich na półmetku, ale po piętach depczą im chociażby Belgowie, także i Amerykanie. Słowacja też wygląda całkiem nieźle wraz z brązowymi medalistami Mistrzostw Świata do lat 19 sprzed roku, Mistrzostw Europy. Oczywiście mowa o Michalu Zemli oraz Oliverze Simku. Także tutaj nie powiedziała ostatniego słowa na pewno ta osada. Zobaczymy, kto skończy na podium w tym finale B. Raczej poza stawką są już Łotysze, którzy na półmetku tracili ponad 6 sekund do liderów.
Well, the entire field has been giving and taking seats left, right, and center. Right now, it's Belgium that currently is running second, but Australia still anchored at the front, but barely 1 seat between them and Belgium. So it takes a lot of mental maturity to take a look out, read the race, understand when it's time to go. And at 1,500 meters, this is where it really counts how you're going to find that speed. Are you going to find it from a place of panic, or are you going to sit up, knees down, wind the rate while keeping it long? If you're going to shorten the stroke, it has to be effective placement of power, and that's what Australia is currently doing. 2 big, strong, powerful men in the middle there, Richie, Adam and Hamish, and a quota red was, their strength is there, but now it needs to come together.
Come together it is, because they are leading it out and they're in control center of the course, but they're being chased down by this young Greek crew. Did the running in the last 500, but it's Belgium now coming in and taking the lead. Just in the last few strokes in the run into the finish, the red boys are there. It's Belgium leading it out from Australia.
To co prawda tylko finał B, jeśli chodzi o rywalizację czwórek podwójnych mężczyzn, ale dzieje się na tym finiszu, drodzy państwo. Wyrównana stawka z przodu. W tej chwili chyba reprezentanci Belgii, ale cały czas naciskają na nich Australijczycy, Amerykanie i Grecy. Ciekawe, kto wygra tę walkę o 7. miejsce w Mistrzostwach Świata.
Coming through the 500-meter mark, we saw Lucas Delpa in the bow seat of Belgium just glance over his shoulder to check where Australia were. They've rolled through them and taken the lead. Finish line is in sight. A big rush for the finish for the minor places, but it is going to be Belgium ahead of Australia, and looks like it might be The crew from the USA might have come back in there, just checking the details as it comes through. The young Greek crew back in 5th ahead of Latvia, who came back to overlap as well. A really exciting finish there in Final B of the men's quadruple sculls. It is Belgium ahead of Australia 1 and 2, placing 7th and 8th overall. Just waiting for, it's the Slovakian crew who got in to take 3rd, ahead then of the crews from Greece, United States and Latvia, closing out Final B of the men's quads.
Finalnie najlepsi Belgowie, nic tu się nie zmieniło na ostatnich metrach. Drugie miejsce dla antypodów, czyli dla osady z Australii. Bardzo ciekawie było, jeśli chodzi o kwestię trzeciej pozycji. Potrzebny był fotofinisz, ale finalnie na trzecim miejscu Słowacy, na czwartym Stany Zjednoczone.
Unbelievable photo finish for 3rd place there. The Slovakian crew just getting the better of the United States of America by 0.01 of a second. Unbelievable sprint finish there. Congratulations again to Belgium, winners of the B final. We're going to head straight down to the action there at Strepan. I think you have some of the Polish fans to check in with.
Yes, so I will switch to Polish, for I have Polish fans here with me. Dzień dobry, witam Państwa bardzo serdecznie. Jesteśmy na mniej więcej 15 minut przed startem Państwa syna Kamila. Jak do tej pory te zawody dla niego się układały i jak mama się z tym czuje?
Emocje są nie do opisania. Jestem ogromnie dumna z mojego syna. Za chwilę startuję w finale B na 8 męskiej ze sternikiem. Także trzymam za niego kciuki, kibicujemy. Pierwszy raz na Mistrzostwach Świata. Wszystko jeszcze przed nim, żeby mu się marzenia spełniały. Także tego życzę mu.
Their son Kamil is first time in the World Championships. He's made it to the final B, so mom is very, very proud. And now how about dad? Jak się czuje tata? Wiadomo, że sam jestem ojcem, więc wiem, jak to jest. Od małego się obserwuje te dzieci. Ta duma rośnie z każdą chwilą. No i emocje w tych ojcowskich sercach chyba też są ogromne. Chociaż zawsze się mówi, że to mamy są bardziej emocjonalne.
Ogromne przeżycie, startować w reprezentacji Polski, reprezentować swój kraj. Uważam, że najwyższy honor. Mi nie było nigdy to dane, dlatego tak bardzo cieszę się, że mój syn mógł tego dostąpić.
Dziękuję bardzo. Dad is so proud that his son can make it to the World Championships. Like all of us dads, we are always proud about our children. Dziękuję bardzo za rozmowę. Thank you.
From Netherlands, Australia, Denmark, attention.
We're underway with our first big boat race of the day. It is the B final of the women's eights, just getting underway there. We have 4 crews contesting it here. We started out with 10 in the heats, 6 advancing on to the A final. So these crews have been waiting since Thursday to get back on the water and battled it out for positions 7, 8, 9 and 10 overall at the under-23 women's eights championship. So getting off to a clean start there. It's Italy leading it out at the moment, 44 strokes per minute, being matched right beside them though by the Netherlands. They're the 1 and 2, and the only crew pushing back a little bit at the moment, it's Denmark back in 4th place. The Australians very much in touch with the leaders, Italy and Netherlands, all coming through the first 100 meters though. We'll see when they settle into their race pace just how the approach is going to be for these 4 crews in the B final of the women's eights.
Przed nami 2 finały w tej najbardziej widowiskowej, najciekawszej konkurencji, przy której oglądając wioślarstwo można zakochać się w tej dyscyplinie sportu, czyli w ósemkach, drodzy Państwo. Jako pierwsze do boju w tym finale B ruszyły panie, no i w akcji oglądamy 4 osady. Na torze numer 1 płyną Włoszki, tor drugi to reprezentantki Holandii, tor trzeci to Australia, na torze 4 reprezentantki Danii. No i patrzymy, co się dzieje na dystansie, bo ten wyścig już się rozpoczął. Mocno rozpoczęły Holenderki, one na prowadzeniu na pierwszym pomiarze czasu, który właśnie osiągnęły. Ten pierwszy pomiar czasu to oczywiście dystans 500 metrów. Za plecami Holenderek Australia, Włochy, no i Dunki, które zostały wyraźnie z tyłu.
So in the heats we saw the Netherlands crew, the Dutch were the ones that were fastest, followed by the Australian crew. That's what we're seeing now going through 500. A lot of these crews doubling up as well, Andrea, but they're looking grand and fresh out there for this B final.
Well, and the crew that doubled up most notably, I would say Denmark currently off the pace is stroked by 2 Olympians, Clara Harnes and Frida Werner Folgager. They were in the women's 8, the very first Danish women's 8 that qualified through the final Olympic qualification regatta, and yesterday we saw them double up in the pair to a bronze medal. We'll see if they're able to get their team back on track, but in these big boats, making up meters is a really tough thing to do, and right now they are running out of it. But who's in first place here? Well, definitely the Dutch, with actually only 1 athlete with U23 experience. That's a stroke person, Minal Baumann. So what a great race for them. They must be having the time of their life there, with the best view in the house cocks done by Lotte van Boekel. They're coming up to the 1,000 meter right now, and it looks like they're almost pushing to clear water. But Italy and Australia neck and neck on either side. That Italian crew has senior experience with 6-seat and stroke seat, competing at the World Cup in Varese in the 8, so 8 experience on a senior level. But with their nose and head, Australia was 4th last year. 3 of those athletes return now in the B final, but plenty of U.S. collegiate athletes in there representing Texas and Tennessee. In fact, only 2 members not in a U.S. university.
Co prawda jest to finał B, ale proszę popatrzeć, jakie tu walczą ekipy. Włoszki, Holenderki, Australijki oraz Dunki. Fantastycznie Holenderki rozpoczęły ten wyścig, to one w tej chwili na prowadzeniu i prawie długość łodzi przewagi nad ekipą Australii. Może 3/4 i później są Włoszki, troszeczkę z tyłu Dunki, ale ten wyścig to wcale nie będzie taka sobie tylko przyjażdżka. Tu nikt nie odpuści, mimo że to jest finał B. Australijki gonią rozpędzone Holenderki, ale tam Włoszki także nie odpuszczą. Dunki raczej już nie odrobią tak dużych strat. Już bardzo blisko meta. To rozpoczynają się ostatnie pociągnięcia wioseł, jak na 8, to jest wręcz ekspres. Na prowadzeniu cały czas Holenderki, ale gonią Australijki, gonią Włoszki. Będzie ciekawie na ostatnich metrach, może Australijki dopadły Holenderki. Będzie fantastyczny finisz także z Włoszkami. Włoszki też nie odpuszczą, mimo że na pierwszym torze, a zatem te emocje będą do ostatnich metrów. Zatem świetnie Holandia, bardzo dobrze Australia, coraz lepiej Włochy, jedynie troszeczkę słabiej Dania. Ten wyścig teraz wchodzi już w decydującą fazę i tutaj mogą być niesamowite przetasowania.
Well, the coxswains of all of these crews here have small little strings that control a credit card size rudder underneath, or they'll be calling to their crews to make small changes in pressure to keep the boats riding straight, because of course the straightest line from A to B, it means the least energy expended. These boats are 60 feet long, about 212 pounds, and right now it is the Dutch continuing to press theirs forward. However, Australia doing a great great job of reeling them back. They have stayed a very consistent 2 seconds behind the Dutch crew. And so now if they want to challenge, if they want to get up into that 6th or the 7th spot, they're going to have to challenge. As I say that, they're bringing the rate of striking up at a 37. I expect that to go into the 40s, because first what you need to do is you need to do it through technique rather than ratio. Long, strong, power on, 16 legs down together, but a lot of work to do, Richie, for that Australian crew.
Yeah, they might run out of water as they come into 250 to go. They've eaten back into the lead that the Dutch have, and seat by seat they're coming back on them, but the Dutch look in full control here. They've reacted to the challenge. They push on again with a faster boat speed. They're taking the rate up now, and finish lines in sight, still looking good for the Netherlands, but that pressure coming from Australia for second.
Pięknie prezentują się te wielkie 8-osobowe, a w zasadzie 9-osobowe, bo oczywiście w składzie 8 również sterniczki, osady, no i fantastycznie finiszują tutaj reprezentantki Holandii. One płyną po zwycięstwo w tym finale B. Kolejne będą Australijki z antypodów. Na ostatnich metrach nic tutaj już się nie zmieni.
Beautiful drone footage there of the two crews powering towards the line. The Dutch winding it up, and they're doing their best to hold on here. It's within 3/4 of a length, but they are going to take the win in the B final of the women's 8. It's the Netherlands 3/4 of a length ahead of Australia in second, a little bit of a half a length of clear water. The Italians in third, and then the Danish crew coming in to close it out. That's final B of the women's 8. A win there for the Netherlands.
Holenderki od początku prowadziły w tym finale B. Holenderki rozdawały karty i dyktowały warunki. No i Holenderki jako pierwsze minęły linię mety. To pewne zwycięstwo tej reprezentacji. Na kolejnych pozycjach finiszowały Australia, Włochy, no i ostatnie miejsce dla reprezentantek Danii, które dopiero przed momentem przecięły linię mety.
And now we're going to move on to the last B final of the entire championship. It's the B final of the men's 8 before we move into those medals races for the A final. So the B final underway, just getting off of the start there. The 6 crews that are racing in this. It's Canada lane 1, Poland lane 2, Netherlands lane 3, Romania lane 4, Czechia lane 5, and and France in lane 6. They've just come up on the 500-meter mark, so we're going to go and check in straight away. It's Romania leading it out, but with just 2 seconds separating first to 6, all to play for.
Romania was just caught by that Italian 8 in the amazing races that we've had over the past few days. And the fact that we had a semifinal in men's 8, that's never happened before at a U23. So what an amazing depth of talent we have here, and what a great racing experience to be in a B final with 6 crews. The sound and fury must be amazing. Going from the far lane, Team Canada, they're in a builder year right now. They're really focusing on placement and speed, squeezing that speed out through efficiently. They're all pretty big in this bucket rig, but a great field here right now, not able to keep up with the rest of the crews, because it is the Dutch and the Romanians that are at the lead, but not much between Poland and France. Amazing to see those Polish crews coming through on home water, and we know that that home field advantage is going to absolutely lift their spirits through the finish line. Coming now up to the 1,000 meters, this is where we see moves. This is where we see people being brave and making calls. The Romanian coxswain, Maria Antonia, she's a female cox. Right now, she's looking over and she can see about 3 seats of the crew to her right. That's the Netherlands.
No i polska ósemka teraz walczy o jak najwyższe miejsce w finale B, ale proszę popatrzeć, jakich mają groźnych rywali: Holendrów, Kanadyjczyków, Rumunów, Czechów i Francuzów. Zatem nie będzie tutaj łatwo o zwycięstwo, ale Polacy na razie na 4. miejscu. Nie ma dużych strat do czołówki tego wyścigu. Na prowadzeniu faworyzowani Rumunii. Oni powinni ten wyścig wygrać, ale Holendrzy także są bardzo silni. Oni w ogóle zdziwiony jestem, że oni walczą w finale B. Polacy na razie na 3. miejscu. Zatem to jest bardzo dobry występ naszej osady. Brawa tutaj dla podopiecznych trenera Mariusza Szumańskiego. Oni mówili, że każdy jeden wyścig dla nich to jest duża nauka i oni z każdym wyścigiem będą płynąć coraz lepiej. Już wczoraj kapitalnie zaprezentowali się w swoim wyścigu półfinałowym, pokonując Kanadyjczyków, ale więcej nie mogli osiągnąć, bo trafili na prawdziwe potęgi. I teraz także tu mają trudnych rywali, Rumunów i Holendrów. Gdyby pokonali jednych z nich, to byłaby naprawdę bardzo duża sztuka dla Polaków. Na razie dobrze na trzecim miejscu Polacy. Oby tak trzymali. Tam walczą z Francuzami o to trzecie miejsce. Niezwykle zacięta walka. Na prowadzeniu Rumunia. Holendrzy na drugim miejscu. Polacy dzielnie walczą. Senderacki, Chabowski, Zieliński, Nowakowski, Jędrzejczak, Kozłowski, Szczepaniak, Janikita. Sympatyczna sterniczka Julia Wechnicka, która nie daje się tym potężnym facetom i spokojnie nimi kieruje. I oby tak do mety. Brawo, panie trenerze Mariuszu, tak trzymajcie do końca, chłopaki.
Czechia was fifth for the first half of the race, but their coxswain Lucy Metzia, Zuzana, in the Czechia boat called for something more, and they're now right up there pushing just past the French combination. Poland and Canada starting to fall behind. Romania trying desperately to extend their lead, but the Dutch and Czechia holding on and challenging now. It's almost level between those two boats, and I can imagine that their coxswain Lotte Vettel in the Dutch boat is saying one word: geloven, believe.
They're coming in towards the finish, leading it out between the Romanians and Netherlands. Romania from the first stroke have led this through 500 down into the last quarter. They're powering in towards the line now, up at 40 strokes per minute, but all the other crews, including the Polish crew, now up at 42 strokes per minute. Philip in the 5 seat, he's the local rower from here. He knows every blade of grass, and he'll use that information to try and get back in the mix. But up in the front, it's still Romania leading it out, coming under pressure.
To już ostatnie metry z przodu Rumunii, ale my patrzymy na tor drugi, bo tam płyną biało-czerwoni i biało-czerwoni do ostatnich metrów powalczą o jak najwyższą lokatę. Podium w tym wyścigu nie będzie. Pytanie, czy miną linię mety jako czwarta czy piąta ekipa w tych królewskich 8-osobowych osadach. Rumuni wpadli już na metę, dla nich miejsce pierwsze. Dalej Holendrzy, reprezentanci Czech. No i pytanie, biało-czerwoni na czwartym czy na piątym miejscu? Musimy poczekać na fotofinish.
A blanket finish there to close out final B of the men's eight. Such powerful rowing coming into the finish, and the rates coming up into 43, 44 strokes per minute. It was the Romanian crew led from the very start. They take the win ahead of the Netherlands in second place. The Czechia crew taking third, moving from fifth place into third. Ahead then of France, Poland taking fifth, and the Canadian crew closing it out in sixth place.
Ostatecznie nasza ósemka na miejscu piątym w tym finale B. Do czwartych Francuzów straciliśmy nieco ponad pół sekundy, także było bardzo blisko. Piąte miejsce w Mistrzostwach Świata, w finale B Mistrzostw Świata oznacza, że biało-czerwoni zajęli w ogólnym rozrachunku 11. pozycję i pesymiści pewnie powiedzą, co to za sukces. Natomiast patrząc przez pryzmat tego, że to jest osada, która dopiero się tworzy, która dopiero wchodzi na ten międzynarodowy poziom, że tak naprawdę męską ósemkę udało się złożyć w naszym kraju po wielu latach przerwy i posuchy, to powiało optymizmem z toru regatowego Malta w Poznaniu. Panowie, bardzo dobry występ, liczymy na was w kolejnych latach.
So that win for Romania there, closing out the B finals, the last of the B finals in today's session, and overall in our under-23 championships. We're kicking things off. The first medals of the day are going to be decided in just the next few minutes. We're starting with the women's and men's quads races.
W ten sposób zakończyliśmy pierwszą część ostatniego dnia młodzieżowych Mistrzostw Świata do lat 23. Za nami finały B, no a przed nami crème de la crème. To, na co czekamy najbardziej, czyli wyścigi medalowe. W akcji aż 4 polskie osady i każda z tych osad z realnymi szansami na to, by na podium tutaj w Poznaniu stanąć. Teraz kilka minut przerwy, drodzy Państwo. Wyścigi finałowe. Finały A, czyli walka o medale, rozpocznie się o godzinie 11:05, także bądźcie razem z nami.
So just before we get ready for the all-important A finals and those medal races, we're going to head down again to the crowd. Szczepan's going to give us the vibe and the feel and check in with the supporters.
Oh, the vibe and the feelings are just wonderful. You see orange color, it means Netherlands. Hello. Tell me about the emotions after the final B. There was a lot of going on the water.
Yes, it was very intense. I was shouting very fast, and they were rowing very, very good. My emotions are, I'm very glad.
To sum up the championships, how was the atmosphere and how was the results of the orange team?
Yes, it was good. No, they're rowing there, the Dutchmen, and there's a big group there. over there to say hi to them.
You support all the team, but who especially?
The special are the women, the women's eight. They were first in the B final, and my daughters, they're rowing.
So you're a proud dad?
Yeah, very, very proud dad.
A lot of proud dads around here in the grandstands. Thank you very much for talking back to our studio.
Thank you.
Now we have, let me call this 3-in-1, because we have a supporter, sister, and a rower herself. Your brother, hello, your brother was racing in that final B. How did you feel, and how do you feel about his result and his team crew's result?
I think it's amazing result because they're still very young, so I think that's wonderful. Yes, I think it's amazing.
And a great place, third place. As you said, they are very young, they are great prospects, and they have a bright future in front of them.
Yeah, I hope so. They will have a bright future, yeah.
You are also a rower. What is more stressful for you, to row yourself or to be a supporter for your brother?
I think that it's similar, like to be a fan, because it's my brother, so it's so stressful also. But yeah, it's similar, the rowing stress.
minutes.
Hello and welcome to the Malta Lake in the beautiful city of Poznan in Poland. We're here for the 2025 World Rowing Under-23 Championships. It's the last day of finals today. Yesterday the racing was sensational. The medals spread out widely over different nations. What will happen today? With me is Tim Van Vliet. I'm Martin Cross.
Good morning, Martin. All good, and welcome indeed today to the finals day, the final day here. And just to give you a quick update on the weather pretty similar to yesterday, apart from the wind direction, which is slightly more northerly than it was yesterday. So we have slight cross the tailwind conditions here on the lake today. And here is a quick summary of the program. We have 8 A-finals lined up for you, starting with the women's quadruple sculls, then for the men's quadruple sculls, then both the women's and the men's lightweight doubles before we head into the men's single, women's 8, the women's single, and last but not least, always exciting, Martin, the men's 8 final.
Yeah, big boat. This is a big women's boat, and it's a massive race for the packed grandstands here. A lot of supporters from all over the world. Polish women are going in this race, have a chance of a medal, if not a gold medal. It's the women's quadruple sculls. The women have been on the start for a little while now. We've heard the starter giving them instructions, and this race is scheduled to go off by my watch in about 3 minutes time, Tim.
Yeah, so 3 more minutes for these 6 crews to ready themselves for probably the biggest race of their year, and they've been working towards this A-final since last year's season. So this is a culmination of all that effort, all that training, and here they are on the start line.
Yeah, nice and convenient. Lane 1's over the far side, and lane 6 is this near side. So Czechia, Germany, Britain, Poland, Italy, and the row sellers from Australia on the far side. Birthday girl, Tim.
Yeah, in the stroke seat of Czechia, Anna Drunkova. She's on the left-hand side of your picture, celebrating her birthday today. And right beside them, we find the German women's quad, stroked by Paula Lutz in the stroke seat here. And they look very much ready, lining up their boats. And here's Great Britain.
Yeah, Livy Chismer up in the bows from my club, Molesey Boat Club. And she's just been racing at Henley. and now at bow in this club. Ellie Cook and Fionnuala Stratton, both from the quad that took a medal at last year's World Championships. Here are the home favourites, Tim.
Yeah, the silver medalists from last year. One new crew member, Barbara Stepien, in the 2 seat, coming into the silver medal winning crew from last year. And right beside the Polish squad we find Italy, with 2 returning members from last year's crew who finished 6th in the A final. And here is the green and gold from Australia.
Liv Yates on the left of your picture, the 19-year-old from Tasmania up in the bows. That's the run over of these crews. There's more stories to tell you through the race, but you can hear the umpire giving the call over, and this race will shortly be off. The first of our 8 A finals.
Attention.
I thought the British moved a little bit on that first stroke, quite nicely. Maybe got a few centimetres, but otherwise pretty even start.
Yeah, pretty even start. The only crew not as fast out of the blocks as you would expect is that the home favourite crew from Poland, although they have, gotten into their rhythm very well here. You can see them now moving back at the British bow ball. Not the fastest few opening strokes, but here they are as we ride with the Polish crew. When we look at Gabriela Stefaniak in the stroke seat.
Yeah, studying psychology at the University of Gdansk in the north of Poland. The Poles had the quickest 500 in the heat, the time to the first marker, 1:33. The British were 1:34. So I think at the moment this is pretty much advantage to the British, and I guess their coach might have said to them, Chris Bartley, himself a lightweight rower of some distinction, have said, look, you have to be competitive with the Polish crew in the first quarter and use your pace and trust you're still going to have something left in the second half.
Yeah, you need to be in the race to, put the pressure on the Polish crew, because you know it's a quality crew. You know they will be motivated just that little bit more because they're racing here on home water. You can see this nice chevron formation here with Great Britain and Poland now leading the charge, just half a length ahead of the crews from Italy and Germany to their left and right.
Poland look like they're going to lead through the 500. Well, the graphic is saying it's Britain, Tim, just 0.02 of a second, but Italy in that bronze medal position. And then really all the crews are pretty close, apart from the Czech crew on that left-hand side of your picture. Little bit off the back, but we have seen medals from outside lanes, particularly this near side lane 6 in the last part of the race yesterday.
Yeah, we did. So keep a close eye on the crew from Czechia, and in the bow seat of that crew from Czechia, Anna Pavlaskova, whose mum is also an Olympian, so there's plenty of Olympic pedigree in there, and she made her international debut here after a long career. And here we ride with the 2 front runners. How do you say those 2 crews compare now, Martin, coming into this second 500?
I'd say the British women have got a little more purchase on the front end of the stroke. I think you can see there, the blades go in. They've got those kind of comp blades that they use, and they're just getting a little bit more purchase on the front end. They've got a little bit more to push against than the Polish crew. I think the Polish are really sweeping it beautifully, nicely off the back end, but it just looks like a little more grunt for the British women. How do you see it?
Yeah, it's a bit, the stroke to me looks a bit more front-loaded, as you mentioned. As we ride here with the crew from Poland, you can see the blades moving nicely together there, and a nice rhythm there being set, 37 strokes a minute. That's a really nice maintainable pace here.
Yeah, in the heats, the British threw in a 1:38 for the second 500, and the Poles threw in a 1:40. So this is really going out. The British and the Poles won their separate heats. The Italians are having a great race with the Germans. You can see the Germans there on the left, just almost level with the Italians. As I say that, yeah, you can just the angle from that drone. Britain stretching out from Poland, and it very much to me looks like something's got to happen to the British if they're not going to win gold, because Poland have attacked, but they just haven't got the pace in this second half.
Yeah, you can see on the graphic that GB is generating that little bit more boat speed here coming into the third quarter, and this is where we usually see the differences being made here. And here are the crew who are in bronze medal position at the moment. Germany, just one returning member from the crew that raced last year in the stroke sheet, Paula Lutz, and they are making a big move now, trying to get that bronze medal, but Italy not over just yet, just a couple of feet behind.
Yeah, German women's quad sculling back on a high, of course, after that bronze medal in Paris, and the crew's doing really well this year, the senior crew. Paula Lutz, Charlotte Luster, Lena Griesens and Lana Ruter from the Berlin club. Lutz in the stroke seat, the Virginia Cavalier, brother rowing in the USA, come back into the German team now, and they are creeping up the Polish. Could Germany snatch a silver from Poland? And I'm just wondering about the Italians. I don't think they're going to get back on the poles, but so far Germany's progress has been relentless.
Yeah, Germany have a very, very strong third quarter here, and they crossed the 1500-meter mark just half a second down on the Polish crew. But in the meantime, Martin, Great Britain just walking away here.
Yeah, they threw in a 1:37 in the heat. It's going to be something close to that today. It's the quickest 500 of all the crews in this race. Germany and Poland. This is the race for the silver and the bronze medals. They've moved away from Italy, and nobody else is in this, but the British crew look really sweet, don't they? That front-loaded stroke. They've just got that little bit of patience to get hold of the boats and just push against that resistance. Germany just getting the better of the race against Poland.
Yeah, Poland upping their game, though. They're almost at 40 strokes a minute, trying to get back into that silver medal position. GB, I think, probably secure for the gold medal, barring incident or accident, but the race is on for that silver medal. Poland now back on the move, back in silver medal position, but by a whisker.
Yeah, Polish quad sculling really on a high after Tokyo, where they took the silver medal, but they haven't found the speed since then. And these four women very much part of their future and the Los Angeles, but Germany have that vital few feet.
Yeah, Germany charging now. You can see the bow ball surging through the water, and they've opened up. It's almost going towards a canvas, Martin. A great final sprint by the Germans, but GB out in front.
It's the British quad coming down to the finish. Cheesemere, Baker, Stratton and Cook take the gold medal. Germany head Poland for the silver. It will be a medal for Poland. And in the minor placings, it is Italy, I think, just ahead of Drew from Czechia, and the Aussies yet to finish, just coming in now. Such an impressive scull from the British women. You can see her arms in the air there. Fionnuala Stratton, she took a bronze last year with Ellie Cook, the stroke woman who stroked that boat last year. Poppy Baker's come in. Liv Cheesemere, arms in the air, the Molesey athlete. She was at the under-19s last year, took a silver. She's upgraded that junior silver to an under-23 gold team.
Yeah, well done. And just to confirm here that Italy crossed the line fourth, just half a second ahead of Czechia, and then back to Australia sixth.
Yeah, it's a pretty commanding victory. I think a little bit of clear water there, 2.72 seconds. Poland couldn't quite get the purchase in the last quarter. They really had to go in the first half of the race, though, the Poles, against the British. And that's our first A final. So, an exciting race, great rowing on display. And we have the men's version coming up very shortly. So the hot favourites for this are the Polish crew. Britain in this too, heat winners, but more of them as we go through the introductions. Switzerland at the top of your picture. Another crew from Czechia, the Poles, red-hot favourites. The British, can they upset the home crowd? Germany and the neutral athletes.
Yeah, and here are the Swiss. We saw this lineup race in Lucerne as well, 10th overall, and racing here in the A final. Next to Switzerland, we find Czechia.
Yeah, Mike Zindulka, the 22-year-old, in the stroke seat of the Czechia quad with his cap set back. And this Polish quad, in the two seats, we have Igor Jakonec, 21-year-old, who had a bike injury last year, couldn't do the under-23s, but he's back here.
Here, Great Britain, Matthew Long, Max Bird, Harry Rindt, and Elliot O'Donovan Davies, and right beside him a very quick crew as well from Germany with Jakob Geier in the stroke seat.
Yeah, the Berliner Oarsman studying mechanical engineering. And the neutral athletes, not quite as strong a crew as they could have had, but the star in this, I think, Shribantsko in the three seats. They had that fantastic race to get into the final of the men's doubles at Lucerne. His partner, Maxim Hrubrewski, is not in the boat, so the neutral athletes could have an even quicker boat than the one they already have. So our co-commentators from Poland, right next to us, really gearing up for this race because the expectation for this Polish quad is massive.
Yeah, defending champions from St. Catherine's last year. One new member in that crew. You already mentioned him, Igor Jakonec, in that two seat, as they are called to attention by the umpire. Could hear the cheer for the Polish crew there.
Yeah, definitely over the...
We're off, green light, buzzer off, and a great start from Poland. Home favourites, GB going with them. All the crews off to a clean start, but we ride here with the Polish quad, and such pressure on these young athletes, but they move out with a clear intent, Martin, and already put that bow ball ahead of the rest of the field.
Yeah, they threw down a 124 in the opening, in the semi-final of this event, and that was probably about half a second quicker than the Brits. So the Brits know exactly how the Poles are going to race, and the Poles are very familiar with the British tactic, particularly coming through in the middle 1,000 metres. They want to get a lead. I think what we've seen here, Tim, is the brave crews, those that go out really fast early on, that's been rewarded.
Yeah, I think it gives you such an advantage if you have that couple of feet. You can just relax that little bit more. You can see more of the crews. You can see the pushes and the action just that bit better, and you can just sort of relax that bit. And I think the Polish crew have gone out with that clear intent to get themselves in a great position here.
Yeah, doing well in lane 5, it's Germany, and you can see them probably sort of level in with the Brits next to them, and the crew from Czechia coming through 500 in quite strong position, second place as it happens to.
Yeah, a great start by the crew from Czechia, silver medalist last year, of course, and only Miroslav Vokalek in the bow seat, new to that crew who raced so fast in St. Catherine's last year, and they are tracking the Polish quad very nicely. But Germany, I think, currently bronze medal position, just a couple of feet down on Czechia, and Great Britain at the moment 4th. The only crew not really able to keep pace are the outside lanes, so the individual neutral athletes, and Switzerland now already starting to feel the strain a bit coming into the second 500.
Yeah, it's great to see the neutral athletes in the final. I think they've been really motivated by seeing the neutral athlete, Yehuni Zlati, win that silver medal in the Paris Olympics, and he's really done a great job to motivate these young lads. But as you say, they're off the pace now. Poland really doing a great job out in front. It's hard to see how anybody is going to get through them. I think they've got the pace in the second half, Tim. And great scull from Czechia. Germans, well, we saw them come through in the finish of races yesterday. I suspect they're going to have a finish in this race too.
Yeah, I think you're right, Martin. And they know that they have that great finish in their back pocket for the last 500. And for them, it's all about keeping in contact with the leading crews. And what struck me so much is that this under-23 Polish quad looks so much like the senior quad. And looking at the pace and the way they are rowing, quite similar to that senior quad from Poland.
Yeah, they've got great expectations of a medal in the Senior World Championships this year, the Polish quads. They just got bettered by the British. Okay, so we're riding with the Polish, Dan Galaza in the stroke seat from Gdansk, Mike Randa behind him from Wrocław, and Czekanovic from Poznania. This is his hometown. His dad works selling cars here, and a mate of his came into the car dealership and said, your son should row. And he did, and look at him now in the world final. And then Kulka from Gdansk, another one up in the north. Germany, well, they are coming now and challenging Czechia for that silver medal. You can see Czechia on the left of your picture, just really a few meters behind the leading Poles. And then it's the Germans on that outside lane, lane 5, they're towards the right of your picture as you look at it. And really, in between that, the British have got to make a move if they're going to pick up anything on the podium places. But it looks pretty much like those are the three medalists. Czechia and Poland, who's your money on?
Ooh, well, the Polish crew here as we ride with Czechia, I mean, they do look amazing. You can see the grit and determination here on Michal Zindulka, the stroke man there, and he knows he's in the race of his life. 0.6 of a second down on the Polish quad at the moment.
Yeah, and they came second to the Polish quad last year in St Catherine's at the Worlds. Zindulka was the stroke of that quad, and at the moment the crew from Czechia are moving.
Yeah, they are moving. Quickest boat out on the water, and we're in the final quarter of this final, and it is absolutely flying. Look at the speed difference now here from Czechia, and they've taken the lead. The picture here is slightly deceptive. The crew from Czechia in the lead at the moment, and the Polish quad have to respond, and they have 42 strokes a minute, trying to regain that gold medal position. Into the red boys, 2:50 to go.
Just into the red boys. The Czechs have made their move. Is it too early? Have they gone too early? Will the Poles find something from this crowd? You can see them go there. Fantastic sprint. He's lifted it, Dan Galaza, but he's got to, because the Czechs have nearly a 2-meter lead. It is the Czech crew, the crew from Czechia, and it's Germany in bronze medal position, but Poland, can they find something?
Yeah, Poland slightly quicker now, and there go Czechia once again. Germany still in bronze medal position, but who's going to get the gold?
So they come up to the line. It is the crew from Czechia with that lead. They've got a deck lead over the Polish favourites, and they take gold. A sensational last quarter. Poland have to settle for silver. They were the red-hot favourites. They took gold in this event last year. Germany win a bronze medal ahead of Great Britain, who miss out. The neutral athletes and Switzerland. Look at him, he's standing up there. He absolutely sculled a beautifully paced race. The Czech stroke man, Mike Zindulka, he knows what it's like. They were just behind the Poles last year. I think it was something like 1/10 of a second, Tim.
Yeah, it was really close. I remember that race, and well, what a way to celebrate, and a great final quarter by Czechia, and they really went all in that last quarter.
So 5:50, the winning time. A little bit more of a margin than it was at last year's World Championships. Germany coming in third place. Good news for the German programme. And Britain, unfortunately, if you're a British spectator, missing out on a podium place. But flags waving from Czechia in the grandstand. And my impression is that Czechia have got a great programme going. I know, you know, the former fantastic athlete Ondřej Sinek has been very much the heart of rowing in Czechia, but there's good things happening down there.
Yeah, I think so. And this crew from Czechia, they were so mature in their race plan. They knew what they were capable of, and executed their plan, I think, to perfection, knowing full well that the crew from Poland would try and establish that early lead.
I must admit, I had the gold medal with Poland written all over it. I just thought the grandstand, the noise, they're going to find something in that last quarter. But the Czechs made their move early, and it really paid off. They got that vital metre, 2 metres, and they kind of laid the gauntlet down to the Poles, and the Poles couldn't respond and pick it up.
Yeah, and I think the Polish crew really tried, because they took it up. They were at 40 and they went to 43 for a couple of 100 meters, trying to get their bow ball back in front. But Czechia really calm under pressure, responding again to that Polish push and pushing out to 6/10 of the lead. In the end, it was quite a decent margin for Czechia.
Yeah, decent. We ought to give a plug for Jan Navratil, the Czechia coach, who's done a fantastic job developing these young scullers. The music you can hear there signals our first medal ceremony for the women's quads. You're looking at the Executive Director of World Rowing on the left of your picture, Vincent Gaillard. And from the organising committee, Alexander Daniel, who will be presented. That box has got those cuddly goat toys in.
Yeah, the goats, of course, symbol of the city of Poznan. And here we are with the bronze medalists from Poland. We have Kinga Kusinowska, Barbara Stepien, Rosalia Linkowska, and Gabriela Stefaniak.
Yeah, Linkowska just getting the medal there. Was a judo. She trained in judo, but the woman decided to change her to rowing, and now she's studying in Gdansk and has a bronze medal. They're not the biggest of women's quadruple sculls. I was, walking past them in the boat park today. These German guys, slightly taller. Lania Rüter, the med student, Lena Griesens, 21-year-old from Potsdam. Charlotte Luster, likewise 21, and Paula Lutz is going to get her medal studying in America, in Virginia, with the Cavaliers. Bit of a history of German athletes as they get their goats. Going to study in the States.
Yeah, we discussed yesterday the impact of the US collegiate system.
So great to see Livy Cheesemoor, as we said in commentary, silver medal in the juniors last year, the multi-athlete, getting that gold medal this year. Poppy Baker, the 22-year-old, she transitioned from playing netball, not surprised with the height that she's got, into rowing. And Fionnuala Stratton, who was in the bow of last year's bronze medal winning boat from Reading University. Ellie Cook, likewise from Reading University. She stroked the bronze medal crew last year, but you can see she shakes a fist. And we're going to hear for the second time at these championships the British national anthem.
We move to the start of the next A final. We have the under-23 lightweight women's double sculls.
Yeah, so these women will have weighed in at an average weight of 57 kilos. Poland, France, Greece, Germany and Italy
It's a five boat final here, and this is the crew from Poland.
Maria Takzek and Emilia Pawlowska from Szczecin and Torun.
France, Justine Diaz and Rose Galen. And right beside them in lane 3, probably one of the favorites here, Martin, the crew from Greece. And here is the German crew of Oldengott and Senchuk.
Both 19. And looking around, Alice Loletta, the Italian from Genoa, she is just 16, as is Maria Datu in the Greek boat. More of her as we go down the course. The quickest of these boats when they raced initially in the regatta was the Greek boat, who got the better of the French. Those two boats will be going head-to-head for gold in this race.
And they're off. Great even start here. Lovely explosive rhythm there from the crew from Greece in the center lanes. Really taking it up the reins here. They're at a high rate of striking, as you can see, almost 50 strokes a minute. And a brief look here at the crew from France.
Look at the Greeks, they've gone crazy.
It's amazing. Uninhibited by any fear, I think. They just go out so fast. 46 strokes a minute, and the French going with them, though. France with a unique opportunity to get a gold medal here, because if the French double wins here, it will be the first gold medal for a French women crew at the under-23s.
That's a great start. I love that. The Greeks have gone out just like their crews did yesterday. They have blasted out. They have no fear at all. Yulia in the stroke seat. Of course, she got that gold last year from Volos on the eastern coast of Greece. And her partner, Moriatadou, the 16-year-old from the Grevna Nautical Club, which is pretty close, actually, up there in northern Greece to Mount Olympus. I'm not sure whether she's ever been there to take the view of the gods from the top of that mountain, but certainly they're rowing like gods at the moment. The Italians on this near side not out of it, Tim.
Yeah, that's quite a handy start from the Italians. They're a very young crew, as you mentioned, Martin, but they are, I think, well, if they're not in silver medal position, they are definitely in the bronze medal position. But yeah, the Greeks approaching 500, opening up to almost full length of a lead. But Italy doing well here to keep in touch.
I mean, if you're racing a Greek crew, and just there they go, first through 500 ahead of Italy. The French got a lot of work to do in this second quarter, but if you're racing the Greek crew, there is absolutely no doubt as to what their tactics in the first part of the race will be. They will throw everything in and blast out and say, catch us if you can.
Yeah, and they make it, and that is also a bit of a mental game, I think, for perhaps for the slightly less experienced crews. If a crew just goes out of the blocks so fast as we've seen the Greeks do at this regatta, it can be so demoralizing if you take a look to your right and then see that you're already a length down in the first 500. Greeks, though, able to maintain that high speed. You can see on the graphic here, the Greek crew quickest boat out on the water, and the French now coming back into this in the second 500. And here we ride with the Greeks, and just look at the blade work, Martin. Absolute perfection here from the young Greek.
Yeah, they do so much training, don't they, down at the course in Skinias near Marathon, and the course inspired by Dimitri Contu and Zoe Fitzu, who took that bronze medal in the Olympics behind Great Britain and Romania last year. And I think they have got so many role models to look up to, the Greek programme. And just in terms of technical efficiency, in terms of training and how you just approach the tough programme that their leader, the chief coach, Giovanni Postiglione, gives them. And it's no wonder with that in place that you get crews like this that are being brave. It has been a good second 500 from the French, though.
Yeah, the French coming back into this, I think finding their rhythm in this second quarter, but already at halfway, and the Greeks are still a good length ahead. France now moving into that silver medal position ahead of the Italians. The young Italian crew, brave but still in bronze medal position. The Germans and the Polish doubles not far behind the Italians.
Yeah, looking at the French, they're just to the left as you look at the screen of the flying Greeks. And it'd be nice to get a little close-up of Rose Gallen, the 20-year-old in the stroke seat of that French double, powering through. She says her inspirations are her dad, but also, well, there she is. Thank you so much, Rose Gallen, the 20-year-old. Her inspirations are her dad, Imogen Grant, of course, who won gold with the British double and is now a medic back home, and Martin Fourcade. 3 people she takes her inspiration from, and she's looking for that inspiration now. They've moved on the Greeks, but she needs a little bit more of that determination and inspiration. They've got to be closer in the sprint for the line.
Yeah, I think they've done well here. They re-established the contact. I mean, the bow ball of the French crew is definitely overlapping with the stern of that Greek crew, but I feel the Greeks are really taking this in their stride, knowing that they have something to push. Although, having said that, the French are actually underrating the crew from Greece, and in the meantime, Germany moved through Italy, and moving with the Germans, the Polish crew, the bronze medalist at the European under-23s last year, also moving through the Italians, who are really feeling that early pace, trying to keep up with the Greek double.
Yeah, so as you look at that shot, you've got Poland, there they are on the far side of your picture, the race for the gold medal between the Greeks, who have led from the first stroke, and now they put a little bit in clear water. They've just moved out at the end of that third 500, Tim. The Germans, haven't they done so well? 2 of the more old athletes in this race, Caroline Oldknot and Natalie Sendrick at 19 years of age, certainly compared to the 16-year-olds in the Italian and the Greek boats. But if anything, Greece are moving away, and there we see the Germans. They are battling, aren't they?
Yeah, they are battling, and this is a crew that came together quite late. Natalie Sendrick in the stroke seat there, actually also a coastal rower, so she's combining the classical rowing with coastals, and they are in bronze medal position, not really getting closer to the French, and I feel that the French, if they want that gold medal, they have to go right now.
Yeah, they do. We're not in the red boys yet, and if you're new to this sport and you're watching for the first time, it's great to have your company. The red boys denote the last 250 metres. The poles on the far side of your picture, they're not going to trouble the Germans, barring accidents. At the moment, the medals look pretty certain. Greece for gold, France for silver, and Germany for bronze. Let's see how the last 20 or 30 strokes of this race unfolds, Tim.
Yeah, the Greeks, they've taken it up to almost 40 strokes a minute. They have such confidence in their ability to finish strong, and they are leaving absolutely nothing out on the water. And here they go once again, 41 strokes a minute, and they are pushing again a clear water margin. The French did everything they could, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to be the Greek double who take it across the line. Just a few more strokes to go. The French keep pushing, but it's too little, too late. The Greeks take the gold medal, France the silver, and Germany take the bronze.
And Poland and Italy coming in for the minor places. And, well, stand up, Giovanni Postiglione. You have found another talent, the 16-year-old Moritatu. She's got another 7 years at under-23 level. There she is on the right of the picture. The woman who hails from near Mount Olympus in northern Greece. And with her partner, Liu Liu, who's already got a junior gold medal to her name. They beat the British last year at the World Championships in St Catherine's. They have done the business yet again.
Yeah, great race by these very young athletes, and such confidence in that race plan. Here we have official confirmation. Greek here defending the title that was won by Dimitra Kontu and Evangelina Anastasiadou last year. So they they take home that World Championship title once again, ahead of France and Germany, and home favourites Poland absolutely spent a valiant effort, but in the end it was fourth overall, just ahead of Italy.
The music that you hear is for another medal ceremony, that of the men's quadruple sculls. You saw that fantastic race from the Czech crew. So the presenters, World Rowing Council member Angelo Alonso Fernandez, and the president of the Polish Rowing Association there, Adam Coral. That is not Adam Coral, he's on my list. I don't know who that gentleman is, I'm terribly sorry.
Here are the bronze medalists from Germany, Yannick Sens and Lukas Haase, Pavo Schwebe, and Stroke, who is about to be handed his medal here, Jakob Geier, the Berlin Rudiker strokeman.
Studied mechanical engineering, sure he's going to make a go of that.
Yeah, you could
the
hear
shortest in the bow, but you know, well, here we go, there's the Polish silver medal crew.
Yeah, with Mikolaj Kulka, the new crew member Igor Czekanovic, Mikal Randa and Daniel Galeza. Here again, Martin, the stroke man being the shortest man in the boat.
Yeah, I mean, if you are not as tall as your crewmates, you're either going to be at bow or stroke. I think the British squad that won in Lucerne, you know, they've got Rory Harris in the stroke, so he's not the tallest compared to, you know, Matt Hayward's. Certainly, and that seems to be a pattern. I think we've established that here. Okay.
World champions from Czechia, Miroslav Vokalek, Jan Cicek, Martin Jezek, and of course strokeman Michal Zindulka, who is slightly taller. I feel here the shortest man was in the bow seat of that crew from Czechia, as they are handed their Poznan goats. And we're about to hear the Czech national anthem.
Yeah, another, that's a nice touch going down the cruise, isn't it? Like the football. Yeah, he's not the tallest, actually, the stroke of the Czech crew. Well, I haven't heard that anthem really since the days of Andrej Sinek winning gold, or Mika Natkova, the champion, Czech Olympic champion winning the London Olympics. But nice to hear that again.
Yeah, wonderful national anthem. And with all these crews having the opportunity to get that picture taken by from the photographers down at the grandstand, we have lovely shots of the crew, the fans from Czechia, and all nations here well represented on the grandstand. Plenty of supporters as we move back to the start, and we prepare ourselves for the A final of the lightweight men's double sculls. This is a full final. We have 6 crews competing here. You can see them lining up. We have Italy, Austria, Germany, Norway, Poland and France contesting the medals.
So we're going to look at each of the crews. A lot of these athletes have really said the biggest challenge has been balancing their studies and rowing training and recovery training. And certainly Christo Fokakis, the Italian bowman, there he is without the cap. Christo Fokakis, he said that is his biggest challenge. And he's really loving the fact that lightweights are giving it to the heavyweights this year in the seniors. He wants to get on the podium, Maren Hauch from Austria, again balancing training in university. Elias Hauch finds that a big challenge.
Here we have the German double with Schaar and Röhling from the Mainz and Kassler Ruder clubs in Germany in the center lane, and right beside them perhaps one of the favorites to take the gold medal here. We have Wang, Norderud and Reite from Norway. Here focusing to get that boat straight and true in these crosswind conditions. And here we have the home favorite from Poland. We have Mickiewicz and Weichhaus.
Weichhaus from Bydgoszcz, just to the east of where we are in Poznan. Pignot and Desmol from France. Leon Pignot, inspired by his brother and his sister Julie, who were members of the French team before him.
Yeah, and that French double actually quite inexperienced. They haven't raced at the international level before these World Championships, placing second and third at the French National Championships earlier this year, which secured selection for this event.
Attention.
Quick start, the crew's not waiting around and the umpire starting them off bright and early. The French really quick out of the blocks, fast couple of strokes here as we ride with the Germans from lane number 3. And a crew to watch here, the Norwegians, not the quickest out of the blocks here, Martin.
Yeah, I thought that's a really interesting start. Of course, Norway, you know, really got a great history. They won the bronze medal in the lightweight men's double sculls back in Rio, and then Bjørnskov and Tom couldn't manage a medal in the Paris Olympics, got into the final and finished 5th. So a lot of role models to look up to for the Norwegian team. And the thing I always think about Norwegians, looking at people like Olaf Tufte, the great double Olympic champion sculler for Norway, is it's the second half of the course that matters. So don't worry about the first 500. The only thing is here we've seen people winning who are brave in the first quarter.
Yeah, I think that is a risk, and the Norwegians will know that they have to be in the mix, knowing full well they have that second kilometer to make the difference. But at the moment, both of the center lanes, both Germany and Norway, struggling a bit. Fast starting French crew here, really furious, still at 41 strokes a minute, and on the far side, on the top of your picture here, on the left-hand side of your picture, you can still see the crews from Italy and Austria also quite close to the front of the field as we approach the first timing marks. Already 500 meters gone. I think France will cross into the second 500 first, and indeed they do, just ahead of Italy, Austria, Poland, then Germany and Norway, already 3 seconds adrift.
So in the race for lanes, it was the Austrians that threw out the quickest time. They did a 6:28. The French, well, they were up there close to a podium place. I would expect them to drop off, but the thing about the French is they've had a lot of good crews here, particularly yesterday, without really delivering medals. And you think one of these French crews has got to get on the podium shortly. It could be these lightweight men to do this.
Yeah, and so far, Pignot and Desmol do everything they can. They're, together with Italy and Poland, the fastest moving boats out on the water. And I'm starting to get slightly worried, Martin, because if you were racing in either the German or the Norwegian double here, you would really need to keep your head cool. If you see the difference now at the moment, Italy now way, way ahead. It's more than 20 meters already.
So I'm going to say race done for Germany and Norway. It's not what they expected. They can't make that much back in the second half. You know, the winners are going to come, I think, from maybe the lanes on the left. The Italians moving really well. They're right to the extreme left of your picture. The Austrians, who threw down that fast time. Their bowman, Matt Mayer, the 22-year-old, inspired by the Austrian lightweight sculler Laura Tiefenthaler, who's done so well this year.
Yeah, and here we see the crew from Italy, both of them from Torino, so that's the northern part of Italy, and they know each other very well, and you can look at, you can just see that they're so well together. Almost 2 seconds ahead of Poland now, who have taken the silver medal position out of the hands of the French, and I think the French now are starting to feel that strain from that early start.
Yeah, and the Austrians are going to come back into it. I think you must see something from the Germans and Norwegians. They might push the Austrians back closer to the Italians, but the Italians now just moving out. In the tradition of lightweights, great lightweight scullers, they're right on the top of your picture. You can see them there. Well, there they are. You can just see them. And you think of the likes of Gabi Suarez, you know, now doing so well in the open weight double.
Yeah, and here we have the Polish combination. Silver medal position at the moment. With Mikovic and Weichhaus, they look really well together, Martin, and you can see the stroke here looking to his left, just checking where he is relative to the rest of the field, and he knows he has a big job to do, but he also knows he's in a good position to get a medal.
He's looking very relaxed for being that close to the French with the Austrians on his far side. I mean, if he looks across and he's got his head in the boat, so well done there, but the Austrians are just sneaking by the Poles. You can see the Italians leading at the top of your screen. Next to it is the battle for bronze and silver between Austria in that white boat and Poland in the yellow boat on this near side. The French not out of it in lane 6. We have seen a few crews sprint through from lane 6 yesterday, and today it might happen for the French.
Yeah, and we are in the final quarter of this race. Italy still look really cool and calm and relaxed. 37 strokes a minute. You can see here the Italians on the left-hand side and the Austrians, of course, silver medalists at the Europeans in Plovdiv earlier this year, and they are going for a big change of gear now. Quickest boat on the water, and they will try to get their barrel ahead of the Italians, who are still in the gold medal position. But the Polish do look good to me, Barton.
Yeah, Polish look good, but I just wonder with Charles ruling the Germans, they are coming with a late charge, too late for the Norwegians, but I wrote the Germans off. Are they going to prove me wrong and get on the podium? It's a definite possibility. They are coming back on the Austrians. What a flyer from Germany. Look at that turquoise marker. They are the quickest moving boat on the course. Where have they found that speed? That's a sensational last half from the Germans.
Yeah, and they've burned through the lead of the Austrians now, and they are moving into silver medal position. Poland also up there. The Italians still clinging on to the gold medal, but it's a fantastic burst here from Germany, and I think they're now in silver medal position, Martin.
Can the Germans catch the flying Italians? They are going toe-to-toe with the Polish lightweight men's double. There's the race leaders from Italy. They're hanging on.
Yeah, the Italians really struggling at the moment. Germany flying towards them, but will the Italians have enough? I think they might just do it. Italy fading, but the line comes in time for the Italians. Indeed, it does. Italy takes a gold ahead of silver for Germany, bronze for the home favourites from Poland. French across the line fourth, and the crew from I think that's the French crew, absolutely spent, fifth overall, and the Norwegians with such high hopes coming to this A final, but sixth in the end is the verdict, and I think the Italians can't believe what happened.
No, I absolutely can't believe the lads from Turin. Giacomo Matucci, 19 years of age, raises his arm. I can't believe what the Germans did. I was more than happy to write them off.
Yeah, and I think
500 metres gone, because it was like, and even 1,000, they were so far back. Where did that second 1,000 metres come from? Have you got some times for them there, Tim?
So Germany was more than 5.5 seconds down at 1,000. They were 5.6 seconds down at 1,500. And then on the line, just 3/4 of a second from gold.
So if I could work out the maths from that, 6:34 for a winning time, 0.75 behind, and Mikhailowicz and Whitehouse just 1.29 behind. If I could work out the speed for the last 500 in Germany, they did 5 minutes. So they basically threw in a 1:35, which is 3 seconds faster than their first 500, which was 1:38.
Absolutely.
What a profile.
Yeah, what a way to race, and great final quarter from the German combination of Schaar and Wöhling, rewarded with a silver medal.
Well, we do like to make predictions here, and I did really think that the Germans didn't have any chance, but we also like to be proved wrong. And that's just what the Germans did. So thank you for that excitement that you gave us. Axel Müller, World Rowing Council member, presenting the medals to the lightweight women's medalists. And that, I think, is the director of the Volvod's office, Piotr Paninski.
Yeah, and first to collect their medals from Germany, Caroline Oldenkot and Nathalie Senchuk.
Both 19 years of age. Absolutely delighted, aren't they? A lovely smile from Nathalie Senchuk there.
Yeah, the two athletes from Düsseldorf and Berlin, respectively, and boy, are they happy to be here. Big smiles all round. And here are the French, Justine Diaz and Rosé Galen.
Yeah, and Rose studying medicine, of course, that is a huge challenge. But really, just like Imogen Grant doing the same thing back in the UK, the Olympic champion in lightweight double sculls. One of the Olympic champions, of course. That Rose Gallen has done a great job. But here we go.
Yeah, gold medalists and world champions, Pashalina Muratidou and Gabriela Lioliu from Greece. And yeah, what a race that was, Martin. And absolute perfect execution by these two very young athletes from Greece.
Yeah, 16 and 19, average age of 17. How do they manage it? How do they do it year after year? And here's the Greek national anthem.
Wonderful national anthem from Greece. Big jump here from the German double as they're handed flags from Nicky van Sprang.
Yes, our Dutch colleague here with World Rowing, just recently retired, but still doing lots of exercise. Greek flags everywhere, but we are going up to the start for one of the premier races. Men's and women's singles always stand out on the programme, as do the men's and women's eights, and we've got one of those races coming up now, the men's singles, hotly anticipated.
Yeah, this is one of the A finals the entire regatta has been looking forward to. These athletes racing heats on Thursday, quarterfinals on Friday, and then the semi-finals yesterday. And the 6 best athletes are represented here in the A final.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a programme, and really recovery being so important for these guys. Yesterday's semi-finals just produced some sensational racing.
And here they are, 6 medal contenders. Oliver Holz from Germany, Nicolas Kolopoulos from Greece, Mutlu from Turkey, Karlström from Sweden, Diego Gonzalez and August Wisholm. And here is the young German athlete. Big shoes to fill, of course, because Timo Strache won last year.
Yeah, we saw him win again in the doubles yesterday, coached by Eric Johannessen, the German Olympic gold medalist.
Here is the young athlete from, again, the young athlete from Greece, Kolopoulos. He's racing lane 2. And here, well, excited to see what this man can do here in the A final. Mutlu from Turkey.
I bet he's going to lead at 500.
Yes, I think he took some inspiration from his teammates who did exactly that yesterday. And here we have Erik Karlström from Sweden.
Great last quarter. Don Claves in a borrowed boat. Portuguese have had to borrow their boats here. Coached by Jose Felinho, lives in Coimbra. And August Wisholm, the Danish sculler, strong second half. Coached by Jens Christiansen from the Hadslund Row Club in North Denmark. Quite a few of these scullers have got good second half, actually.
Yeah, we saw loads of these athletes sort of burning through the field in the last quarter, and closest to your picture, Whistle was a very fast finisher.
Portugal,
A call to attention.
Denmark, attention.
Oh! He held them, and wow, how did you see that, Tim?
Yeah, that's a false start. August Whistle, they were on that sort of hair trigger.
Yeah, you never see, so essentially, we do commentary a lot, Tim and myself. You never see full starts, hardly ever. And Whistle, he was sat there, and he must have been so tall, so tight, so tense, and he wanted to get out. His coach, Jens Christensen, has said, you've got to get out quickly. And he just thought, well, I've got to go now.
Yeah, and to be fair to him, I think the umpire held them at attention quite long.
Yeah.
And all these athletes are like sort of coiled springs. And the slightest noise might trigger that starting procedure, which you practiced over and over and over again.
Yeah, so some of the starts are quite quick. I mean, it's supposed to be random, isn't it? I mean, we can't really blame the umpire for that. I mean, just got to wait for the red light to change to green. But, you know, fair play to the young lads. He's 20 years of age. He wants to get a quick start. Well, obviously now he's got to make sure he starts correctly.
Yeah, because he will be issued a yellow card there for that false start.
Blades of Cholopoulos there, his parents Gregory and Natalia, no doubt watching this event. Imagine they're here. Goals for the Maravici Nautical Club in the north of Greece. Oh, look at Goncalves. Goncalves is up, ready to go.
Yeah.
And he still hasn't called. Is he going to call them over, or is it just a tension go?
I think he will do a full starting procedure.
Okay, let's see. But the Dane looks pretty relaxed and cool, doesn't he, after that full start?
Yeah, and that's so different. I mean, he had a little bit of a smile on his face when he rode back to the start. I mean, yeah, well, it happens.
I used to like that. The old start when it was in French, et vous prépartez, you kind of, you were supposed to go on the parte, but you kind of went on the prey with a little squeeze. And if you timed it right, it just worked to perfection. These days, it's with the light, it's much more difficult.
Yeah. Here we go. We'll hear the umpire any moment now calling these crews to attention.
He's still relaxed, that Danish lad.
Yeah.
There goes the call over.
Turkey, Sweden, Portugal, Denmark, attention.
Oh, he made them wait there as well, didn't he?
Yes, he did. But a clean start now, all these crews off, and here we ride with Mutlu from Turkey, who will try and move out and establish that early lead, as we saw his teammates in the double do yesterday. But if you looking at the pictures here, the drone footage, it's a quick start by August Wisholm, actually on the bottom of the picture here from Denmark. And here we ride with Karlström from Sweden, who is looking so cool, calm and collected, up at 41 strokes a minute.
Yeah, I think he's coached by his mum, Malin, who is an Olympic sailor, and his dad was in the Sydney Olympics in the double sculls. And Eric is touted as one of Sweden's greatest rowing talents, a hope for the Los Angeles Olympics, great Swedish scullers of the past whose shoes he wants to step into.
Yeah, and he's you can see him here now with together with Mutlu in the center lanes, drawing almost level. Good start as well from the Rostocker Rüder Club athlete Oliver Holtz from Germany in lane 1, who is basically level with Karlström and Mutlu.
Yes, Wisholm today, no surprise to see him at the back of the field. The second half is where he does his work, but he can't let those in front of him get too much of a lead. Goncalves of Portugal, he's right in there. Medal chance for him is going to be a little bit of a push, I think, but he's going to put everything into this race, clearly coming up to the first quarter.
Yeah, and Conclave is actually struggling with a lung infection earlier this year, and he mentioned the other day that he's not fully recovered. He's back at sort of 95+%, but he's still not fully recovered, and it's great to see him here in the A final contesting the medals. But a great second 500 being led here now by Holtz from Germany, who is moving out 3/4 of a length ahead of Mutlu.
Yeah, I picked Mutlu to come through in that first 500 leading, as the two gold medal crews from Turkey did yesterday. But, well, his stated aim was to make the best of my first competition in the senior class. The 21-year-old is really got a background here as a junior back in Plovdiv, missed a medal there. He's kind of got not much form outside of that silver medal that he won in the quads back in the Varese under-23s, but this is his first medal or first chance in the big time in the single team.
Yeah, and coming now almost at halfway, and I'm slightly surprised, Martin, to be honest with you, that Holtz is he keeps moving out to, and it's almost a length of clear water here as we ride with the young German athlete.
He's a little bit like Ollie Zeidler in that he's got a very easy reach out forward. He's got very long limbs, those arms, and he's got a natural reach. The blades are going in and they're really perfectly catching the boat. It's like a little pinch and just squeezing against that at the front end of the stroke. I really like what he's doing there.
Yeah, it looks really technically proficient, and he's ticking it over quite nicely. He's at 37 strokes a minute, and to me that looks sustainable at a halfway mark. 2.5 seconds ahead of Mutlu from Turkey and Conclave from Portugal, bronze medal position, a couple of seconds ahead of Karlström, who I think is making a bit of a move here coming into the second half of this race.
Yeah, well, we are waiting for those movers and shakers in the second half of the race. We mentioned the Dane who's out of the picture, but there we're going to Mutlu. He says that rowing has brought out my character, it's built my friendships, my life. I've gained self-confidence and courage through rowing. I want to wear the national jersey with pride towards Los Angeles. That's his aim. This is part of that journey. Turkish team's really been on a journey, and he's moving back, Tim.
Yeah, he's rowing Holtz from Germany down. It's just a length now separating the gold from the silver, and Conclaves doing very well, I think, at the moment to keep Karlström at bay, but it's just 3/4 of a length now separating.
I picked the Swede to come through, Conclaves. He's not the fastest sculler in the Portuguese team, he's the biggest, and that's the physicality is why the coaches have chosen to put him in the single. He's got a massive job to hold off the charge of Erik Karlström in the last part of this race, who I think will challenge for a medal. What's the distance between them? 6 meters now. There's the battle for gold. Who's your money on?
Yeah, well, you have to go with Mutlu from Turkey. He really has the initiative. I think that Oliver Holtz from Germany, thought, well, I'm in the outside lanes, let's just go for it and see where we end up. We might end up with a medal, but Mutlu now closing the gap just 1/10 of a second coming into the last quarter.
Well, Conclaves is still up. He's got a bit of clear water over the Swedes. There he is. I was in breakfast with him this morning. I felt a bit guilty. He was totally in the zone. I put my hand on his shoulder and said, have a great day today. And he looked at me like, you know, I'm not talking to anyone. He's so focused now.
Laser focus for the Portuguese as we ride here with Mutlu, who's showing his mettle now, and he's rowed through Holtz from Germany, and look at him go. Look at the speed difference, Martin.
Conclaves is still holding off the Swede over there, and this could be a famous medal for the Portuguese team. They missed out to the German charge in the double sculls yesterday. He looks across. You've not got far to go, Diego. Keep your head in the boat, and that bronze medal might be yours. Germany looks certain to win that silver medal. Mutlu is right out in front. Could Turkey top the medal table here, if only briefly, Tim?
Oh, that's a great shout, Martin. They may do, but Mutlu is certainly going to get the medal here. Last couple of strokes, just 50 meters to go. A late charge here from Greece as well, but it's going to be Turkey who's going to get the medal.
Yeah, and he is going crazy. Kallstrom is going crazy, trying to catch the Portuguese for that bronze medal. But out in front, it is Sever Edge Mutulu, you beauty. That's fantastic scull. Turkey take their third gold medal. It is the German sculler, and the Swede's coming through. He will break the hearts. Did he break the hearts? The Portuguese had his arm in the air. I thought Kallstrom for the bronze. Silver medal to the German. We wait and see on the photo finish. Definitely Ollie Holt's got the silver medal. It is Goncalves of Portugal. He's done it and got on the podium. The gold medalist laid back. How exciting was that last charge?
What a phenomenal charge by the under-19 gold medalist from Greece, Kolopoulos. And he got so close in the end, but Goncalves from Portugal just enough.
I was calling it for the Swede, actually. You were right. It was the Greek. It was the young Greek sculler.
Yeah,
and actually, you're right. Chalopoulos, he was just what, 0.4 off. My apologies there. Getting ahead of myself. There he is, Chalopoulos, that fourth place. A historic medal for Portugal at the World Under-23s.
Yeah, the well-deserved medal too for the Oliver Holtz from Germany, as we go straight back to the victory pontoon for the victory ceremony of the lightweight men's double sculls.
Yeah, Vince Gaillard, Executive Director of World Rowing, doing the honours with Paul Jamathi. And here we see the two Polish scullers, Kasper Mikajewicz and Martin Wojthaus, 21 and 20 years of age, respectively. Didn't figure in the race for lanes, but come the final, they did the business.
Yeah, they did it when it counted most. A lovely bronze medal. Here are the silver medalists from Germany. We have Naveen Alexander Shah and Maximilian Wöhling from the Mainz and Kassler rowing clubs.
Well, the gold medal was never really in doubt. All year they've had to balance study and rowing, but the Italians from Torino, Tito Cristoforakis, 20 years of age, Giacomo Matucci, the 19-year-old, in the stroke seat. Oh, he loves the limelight, doesn't he? How many times have we heard the Italian national anthem? Is this the third time?
I think so, yes.
In Greece, Turkey and Italy. Yeah. 3 times gold medals. We are taking you up to the start for the women's 8. Remember that men's singles race was delayed, so we are not going to see the end of the Italian national anthem. Here is the start list for the women's 8s. France, Canada, USA, Great Britain, Germany, and on the outside lane have
the crew from, this is France. New crew here, and they are racing right beside the Canadians with several bronze medalists from 2 years ago coming back into the 8. And here, one of the favorites, silver medal last year, the United States of America. And right beside the USA, we find Great Britain, again, the defending champions in this boat class.
Liv Hill in the stroke seat, 21-year-old for the North of England, Warrington. And I think we've missed the Germans in lane 4. But that was the Czech crew there, Simona Pavlikova. Really her big challenge. There she is at bow, just looking across of the Czechia boats, her big challenge is staying consistent through being tired and through times where I don't know how to combine my school rowing. And so many times we see that as a challenge these athletes face. You can see the rowers on the starboard side, that's how the Americans would say it, or the bow side is how I'd say it in English. They're having to keep the boats sort of moved over because the northerly wind is blowing them towards the camera, basically. And it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, I think, to get these boats off straight.
Yeah, and especially also for the umpire, making sure all these crews are aligned properly, because at some venues you have a plastic clog which sort of keeps the bow straight and true, but here on the lake we don't have that. And especially in these crosswind conditions, it's difficult to keep all the bows aligned perfectly.
Yeah, you can just see the two-seat of the American boat, Taryn Hughes from Texas. Well, she stopped rowing now, but you know, as soon as you stop rowing, the bows you've kind of got to angle them towards the north and then let them drift round back so it starts straight.
Well, they are called to attention. I'd say the babble of that GB8 is not aligned with the rest of the field. That's corrected now. Yeah.
Canada, the maple leaves, they very proudly put their maple leaves on the blades. When you get to the championships, you get to put the maple leaf on your blade, or if you're British, you get to put the Union flag on your blade.
Yeah, here we go, Canada. Yeah, that maple leaf is a special ceremony, and for most of these athletes, or some of these athletes, it will be the first time they've gone through that maple leaf ceremony.
So the two fastest eights in the heats, USA and GBR. GBR got a little march on the start there on their rivals, the Americans. There we see the Americans blasting off. Jolie Cherness from Princeton taking a crew off. Hona Warburg in the Cox's seats, but it is the British who've got a great start. That's probably just what their coach Brian Young will have wanted. These women mostly are studying at American universities, Rutger, Yale, Texas, Stanford. There's a couple of athletes, Anna Grace and Liv Hill, as we said, from Warrington and Durham. But a Husky in there too, and Britain doing so well to get these athletes back from America and integrate them with other athletes who've been studying in Britain. And so far, the British A are just powering away from the field team.
Yeah, it's an impressive start by Great Britain, and they're almost half a length now ahead, Martin. We're not even at 500 meters gone, but they have gone out so fast. Good start as well by Canada, currently silver medal position, and nothing to choose between Germany and the USA at the moment.
Yeah, a lot of the Canadian women are studying in the USA as well. It's only really the stroke woman, Gabriella Warbeck from University of British Columbia. They're coached by Katie Steenman, who had that Canadian pair that did so well yesterday, the Dutch photographer, who now lives in Canada. And Britain going out to nearly clear water. To me, this is race done and dusted, Tim.
Yeah, because we know they have the endurance to back this up all the way across the 2,000-meter course, and they look so relaxed. 37 strokes a minute being set here by Olivia Hill in that stroke seat, and it's a really efficient rhythm. You can see it here from these drone pictures. You can see it by the graphic as well. They're quickest boat on the water.
The only thing I'd say is that the race to the right of the British between the USA and Canada, and we know the sort of rivalry between those two nations, it might drag those two crews back up to the British. I think the Germans are in a little bit of a vacuum here on this side. Again, quite a few of those athletes have studied at at American universities.
Yeah, and here we ride with the British. What do you think about that blade work,
It's
Martin?
very, very punchy. I think they've got nice looseness on the recovery forward. I noticed about that. I think the blades are really very direct when they go in. To be honest, I'd like a little bit more pinch at the front if I was being fussy. But, you know, the power that they're generating, the amount of watts they're generating through the middle of that stroke is so impressive.
Yeah, and I also really like the way they get their blades out of the water at the end of the stroke. So they take it out of the water vertically and then feather the blades, and that gives them that very clean exit from the water, and that's taking them to almost a full length. Now, they're about to break clear water here as the American tussle with the Canadians. And here we ride with the Americans. It's a bit, well, not as polished as the crew from Great Britain, but they get great speed here.
Yeah, they do. And these crews come together quite late. Gia Doonan, of course, so experienced coaching the Americans. They're having a great battle with the German on this side, who have got through the Canadians. I saw them doing their warm-up paddle this morning. Magdalena Halle, the 20-year-old coxswain, was really bigging up the paddling, and you can see the battle there. America now strongly in silver. The battle for bronze between Canada on the left of your picture and Germany on the right. I mean, this would be a massive result for German rowing, women's rowing, if they can get on the podium here. German women's rowing really doing their best to try and rebuild, and this would be a step in the right direction, but they've got a job.
Yeah, they've got a big job to do because Canada is basically level with Germany, as here we ride with the Canadians, and that pure grit and determination here from the Canadian women's 8 at the high rating, 38 strokes a minute, absolutely going for it. We're approaching 1,500 meters gone. GB still ahead, but look at the American bow there, Martin, creeping back up on GB. I don't think it's going to be enough, but they have certainly come closer to GB than they were a few hundred meters ago.
Yeah, and just as we looked at that, Victoria Grider, the Canadian cox from Rutgers University in the States, just urging her crew on. She'd seen the threat from the Germans to her right and closed it down. It's now Canada edging away from Germany to be sure of that podium place. America, as you said, Tim, they are moving back slowly, ever so slowly on Britain. But I think the British have got it covered. Nikita Jacobs, the Husky, so experienced in that cox's seat. Just the sort of man you want. There's Nikita with his boat in front of him, impassive. He knows the power output that they've got. I would think they're racing with the telemetry on the boat, but perfectly sinks in. I think they're rowing probably the best of all the crews in this race.
Yeah, it looks so polished, and the Americans, well, matching them for speed, but the distance from that GB bow ball, it's almost a full length as they are in the red buoy area, just 100 meters to go here.
So Great Britain edge ever closer to another gold medal, this time in the women's 8s. They are stretching out, America closing. Germany have too much to do to get through Canada, but they are trying to get the end spurt on the line. But as we come up to the finish, it is Great Britain who take the gold medal in the women's 8s. America settle for silver. Canada hold off the German charge. They take the bronze. Germany settled for 4th. The French, racing more than once, they were in the 4 yesterday, take 5th. And then just on this near side, the 8 from Czechia take the 6th place.
Yeah, Canadian just outside of the picture here as we see the new world champions from Great Britain. Well, just outside of the picture, the Canadian women's 8 chuffed with that bronze medal. Crew from the United States catching their breath.
I have to say, it's credit to Britain. They made that race boring, in as much as they went out and I thought, right, well, they're going to win. And that's exactly what their coach Brian Young would have wanted. They really dealt a big blow to the Americans in that first quarter.
Yeah, that opening 500 was so impressive, and then backing that up with, well, almost pushing to a full length at 1,000, and then race done and dusted, job done.
Completely. So They're the Union flags and the British supporters. Big hopes for the British men in the 8th race, which will be coming down. That's our last race of the day. We have another medal ceremony before that for the men's single sculls. And another gold for Turkey. So, World Rowing Council member Mehdi Gardid, accompanied by the Deputy Mayor of the city of Poznan, Jerzy Solarski. There he is, Diego Goncalves, an amazing triumph for a federation that really has very little in terms of resources to play with. They had to borrow the boats out here. A credit to Jose Villinho and John West, who oversees that programme, the British coach working in Portugal. A real fillet.
Yeah, and here is Oliver Holtz from Germany, silver medalist after that very gutsy start, getting himself in a position to vie for the medals from one of the outside lanes. He looks happy.
Yeah, he's done so well in the single. Big lad, isn't he? We made the comment, a little bit like Ollie Side. He's nothing like his taller side, but certainly had a great technique. But what about this guy, Tim?
Yeah, Ege Hutlu from Turkey, and what a race. I think so impressive to see him keeping his head so cool in that second half and just powering through when he had the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't let Oliver Holtz go out in front, but I mean, he basically backed himself in the middle thousands. And there he is, standing to attention as the Turkey anthem plays yet again over the waters of Lake Malta.
Just see how much that means to Mutlu from Turkey. The young athlete, gold medalist, an historic medal. You can see the emotion on his face and almost overwhelming him during the national anthem.
I thought Goncalves was looking a bit emotional. Either that, it's not his national anthem, but I think the chance to stand on the podium for the Portuguese, obviously a big deal.
Yeah. Just two more A finals remaining. Can't believe we're already at the penultimate A final. The women's single sculls. We ride a drone back to the start. 6 athletes: Ireland, Australia, Switzerland, Paraguay, Greece, and Germany.
Yeah, the contest in the centre lanes is Holly Davis from Ballycoy County Cork, from Lee Valley Rowing Club. She studies at Texas. She's a longboard. Romy Campwell, the medic from Melbourne University Boat Club.
Aurelia Maxima Janssen from Switzerland, getting herself ready. And here, probably one of the favorites, Nicole Martinez from Paraguay.
Yeah, the Guarani warrior, getting herself ready for the Junior Pan Am Games in Asunción, her home city. Elena Diabati, the 17-year-old from Corfu originally.
And here, Germany, Rian Lagerpusch, coached by Rolf Holman. Lane 6, closest to you on the picture.
Australia, Switzerland, Paraguay, Greece,
That's such a slow start from the Australian sculler. What happened to her?
Yeah, I think she caught a crab on the first stroke. She's recovered now, but you can see here from the drone footage already a length down. I think she was balancing on the start line, and I think for her.
And there we see the Swiss sculler Janssen. She's switched boat. She was racing in a Swift boat really up until now, but she's now in that Filippi shell and going head-to-head with the Paraguayan and the Greek sculler, not overawed. In fact, it's the bow of Divati, the 17-year-old. Every time we've said it, the Greeks just go out on the first quarter.
Yeah, I think that's a part of the Greek rowing program, or probably it could be in the tap water as well. It's great to see her out, and I think she's actually in the lead by a whisker. Aurelia Maxima Janssen from Switzerland, still rowing with those very distinctive Macon blades, up in the mix, and she has a chance to win another medal here at the under-23 level. Also, of course, an Olympian in Paris. But those are the two athletes leading at the moment, and sandwiched in between them, Nicole Martinez, the Yale Bulldog, going with them, and currently third overall. And look at how well Cantwell from Australia has recovered, regaining contact with the leading crews here.
That's sensational, but how much effort has she put in for that? I mean, it is incredible. She is overlapping the podium places in this first quarter. We're coming up to 500 metres, we're through the 500 metres. Here we are, and it is Diviati from Greece. She says, really, she put so much work in. She came from Corfu. She lives alone in Volos to train. She says she doesn't have the life of a teenager, but she has goals, and the biggest one is the Olympic Games. And this is the pathway to those games. The Paraguayan, I'd say, Tim, just falling back a little bit behind Janssen and the Greek, and she's had such a fantastic season, held down the 7th seat in that Yale crew, which took the NCAAs, that program won by Will Porter. But she needs to do something now, because Janssen is stamping her authority on this race.
Yeah, Janssen going for a change of gear and trying to regain the lead, but Diviati from Greece still up there, and basically level pegging at this moment. We're about to come into the picture here with Aurelia Maxima Janssen. You can see that low rate of striking, really long connection out in front with those Macron blades.
Yeah, she rows a longer arc than anyone, and those blades, I mean, basically in 1992, the world stopped using Macron blades, but Aurelia said, I learned to row with Macron blades. They're the ones I prefer. I'm going to stick to them. She has changed a little bit in terms of her setup, experimenting with the Filippi scull, but so far, well, she lost the under-23s last year. She was in the Olympics, of course. She lost to Alex Foster, the German sculler, who was also in the Olympics at the under-23s in St. Catherine's. I mean, that must have hurt, but the bow's now in front of Diviati, the woman from Corfu. And Janssen is stamping her authority in this race in the third quarter, Tim.
Yeah, she's really going out there. And I think this is a similar race strategy which we saw last year in St. Catherine's as well. That middle kilometre, trying to make the difference there, because she's not the best sprinter in the final 500. But if I were Janssen from Switzerland, I would be worried about Diviati from Greece, who is just a second down at 1,000. And Cantwell, here we ride with the young Greek athlete, and look how well she is connected at the front. Such good technique from all these Greek scullers.
It's a beautiful technique. I really like the way her blades are very flat. There's no sort of riding up the loom of the water, and I have to say it has been sensational from the Australian from Melbourne University Boat Club, the medic. She's so proud of her achievement. 5 years of balancing a full-time university degree while training up to 22 hours a week, and she had the nightmare first stroke. She was a length down, and now she's right back into a medal position, and that would be incredible if she was to get a medal out.
Yeah, that would be quite amazing. And just looking at her boat speed, she's up there with the fastest crews, and she's just 3/4 of a length down on the young Greek sculler, and sad to see Nicole Martinez from Paraguay slipping back. Clear water down on the Australian at the moment.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look, I mean, she's not quite as long. You compare Martinez with Janssen. They're just around the front, she's not quite got as much purchase, even though she's using those chopper blades. There's the Australian, cool, calm and collected. 22-year-old medic looks across. Can I make the silver medal, she's asking herself.
Yeah, from Williamstown in Australia, and now racing here in Poznan, and she's closing in on Deviati from Greece, outside of the picture here because the drone footage concentrates on Janssen from Switzerland, who is, well, look at that, Martin, what she's done in that middle kilometer. She's opened up 2.5 lengths of clear water to Deviati from Greece, still in silver medal position, who is about 3/4 of a length ahead of Cantwell from Australia. And then there's a bit of a clear water gap to Martinez and Lagerpusch from Paraguay and Germany, respectively.
And it's hard to sort of think this is Janssen's 5th under-23 regatta, I believe.
Yeah, and she could get her 5th medal because I think she medaled on every single occasion when she raced at the under-23s.
Yeah, she's a fantastic cross-country skier. She's competed in the Alpine Cup in Switzerland, which is just one level below the Senior World Cup competition. Such a multi-talented athlete. Keeps herself to herself. She's got dual German citizenship. The coach Klaus-Dieter Stecker been looking after her all this time. And that's a beautiful shot. You can see the length that she gets out forwards. Almost as long as Ollie Zeidler when he's at his best there.
Yeah, it's an amazing bit of technique, and the speed she's generating, Martin. Just a few moments ago, she was 1 kilometer an hour quicker than anybody else out in the water.
Sensational Deviati there. She looks across in the back. I cannot see how Romy Cantwell can find a sprint for the line. She had to sprint to make up for that terrible first stroke that she had. She's got herself into the medal reckoning. But Janssen, this is the biggest distance, the biggest margin that we've seen, Tim.
Yeah, this is yeah, so dominant. An imperious performance by Janssen. She's opened up 50 meters of a lead, and she's enjoying the ride into the finish. Just a couple of strokes to go for Aurelia Maxima Janssen from Switzerland in a class of her own. She crosses the line, gold medal for her, and then it's a big gap, but it's going to be Eliane Deviati from Greece. Gutsy start, rewarded with a silver medal across the line, and what a performance by Romy Cantwell from Australia for the bronze. And then I think it will be Martinez from Paraguay across the line 4th, Lagerpusch from Germany 5th, and last but not least, Holly Davis from Ireland.
Well, that was one hell of a performance. You can see her shoes in that boat, Janssen. They're so high up. She's got such high feet in that new, I think that's the Philippe shell. It is the Philippe shell that she's been trying to switch from the Swift boat with the modern sort of carbon wing riggers that she's using. But of course, the old Macon blades. Look at that margin, 10 seconds, the biggest winning margin we've seen here at the under-23s. Romy Cantwell getting the better of Nicole Martinez. Hotly fancied to challenge Janssen for that gold medal, but didn't happen for the Paraguayan. So this is the medal ceremony, I think, for the women's 8s that we saw earlier. Oh, there's Richard Stadniuk, who is accompanying the medal presenter. Richard used to be president of Polish rowing, now retired from that, but that is, I think, Axel Müller with him. And Richard, well, he's seen those goats before.
Here are the Canadian bronze medalists, of course, starting with from the bow, Mira Calder, Maylee Valiket, who we saw racing in the pair as well, Alexi Fulton, Annika Goodwin, Jeanette Peachy, and Isabel Campbell. Kate Wither also in that crew in the 7th seat, and she was racing in the pair together with Meili Valikets earlier, and we saw them racing the A final yesterday, coming 4th overall. It's a bit of a traffic jam here with the 8s always, Martin, but last but not least, we have, of course, Gabriella Warabek, the stroke of that Canadian crew, and, of course, Cox, Victoria Grida, who is about to get her medal here. I think a good race for the Canadians. They really, well, went for the silver medal, but the Americans able to fend that off, that late charge from Canada.
Yeah. But women's 8 from Canada yet again on the podium. So the USA come through for their silver medal. Maeve Hengen from Yale, Taryn Guyas, Texas Longhorn. Annika Ford being congratulated there, University College San Diego. Catherine Serra, the Crimson up in Boston, Harvard. Natalie Hoffer, 22-year-old from Notre Dame. Oh, Ella Wheeler from Cal. It's getting her goat there. Ainlay from Dartmouth, the big green. Jolie Chernus, the stroke from Princeton. And Cox, Anna Wahlberg, great job. That's another Stanford Cardinal. So the silver medalists take their place on the podium. But again, credit to the gold medalists from Great Britain. Lily Wood, 21 years, the Rutgers students. Alicia Harkin rode in the Yale 2V, gets her medal. Abigail Dawson, another Texas Longhorn, 21. Two Stanford Cardinals, Alice Baker and Matilda Druitt in the middle of that boat, 20 years of age. As they wait patiently, Anna Grace rode in that pair last year with Holly Hughes from Durham University. Great gold medal. Jess Weir is going to get her medal, the Husky UW. Livy Hill from Warrington in the north of England. And another Husky, Nikita Jacobs. What an incredible time he has had in terms of this under-23 championship. So good to have his experience in the stern of the boat. Brian Young, of course, the coach of this crew, and I have the pleasure of the British national anthem yet again.
Cheers all round, and what a well, successful campaign, of course, with Olivia Hill, Alice Baker and Abigail Dawson successfully defending that title from last year in St. Catherine's, together with new teammates, but different year, but the same result for crew from GB.
Yeah, and those GB supporters hoping that the British men's 8 up next will deliver on the promise that so many people think they seem to have. We'll see. But the men's 8 is our last A final of the day, and we're going to take you up to the 2,000 metre start, or 2,000 metres away from us. Here's the boat, the men's 8.
Yeah. last year, it was, of course, Great Britain who got the championship title, but we're also, I think, quickest to qualify for this A final with 14 entries, a unusual large entry for this men's 8 event. But here they are, the 6 finalists: Italy, Australia, Great Britain, Germany, the United States of America, and New Zealand closest to the camera.
Yeah, I think the 4/8s on this side of the... Well, actually, to be fair, Australia got a chance of a medal. I'm not sure quite if the Italians are going to be in there. Kiwis have got a very strong 8 on the outside lane. There's the Italians. They are coxed by Ilaria Colombo from the Gavarati Club on Lago di Varese, female coxswain for the Italian crew.
Here are the Australians, bronze medalists last year and looking to improve on that performance.
And Weitman and Scott in there, Andrew Weitman and Ben Scott in the stroke seat, and their dads won the silver medal in the pairs behind Redgrave and Peterson in Atlanta.
Here GB looking to defend that title from St. Catherine's last year, and here in the green boat, Germany.
The green boat, of course, synonymous with their sponsors, Velo, who've been fantastic to work with over the years in the German system.
The United States of America, silver last year, but this is a completely new lineup. Only 2 athletes in that crew with previous under-23 experience. And here are the Kiwis for the first time in 8 or 9 years that we have a Kiwi under-23 men's 8 on the water.
Jack Lopez up, Ed Lopez up in the bows from Northeastern. This boat coached by Calvin Ferguson. Normally Calvin's a bit of a sculling expert. He's coached gold medal winning double sculls from New Zealand. Here he is working with this under-23 8.
Yeah, the Kiwis, a mix of local and US-based athletes, something we don't see that often.
Germany, USA.
These tense few moments before the start.
Attention.
Nice, long, patient strokes by all these crews, especially in that German 8, who I think the German men's 8, the senior 8, more or less pioneered that starting procedure as we ride with Great Britain. And Great Britain move out quickly together with the Australians here on the left-hand side of your picture. And here is the under-23 German 8. Great rhythm there being set by the stroke Ole Bartenbach from the Rudergesellschaft Speyer.
Yeah, an industrial engineer by profession, or learning that profession. British have had a great start, but the Aussies, they went out quick in the heat. They got rowed through by the Americans. And it's like, what are you doing up there? Don't you know this is Great Britain's race to win? And the Australians, they've gone out so bravely. Hats off to them. And Ben Scott, the 21-year-old from Harvard, leading them out. Harvard had such a great season this year. He's got a couple of Harvard colleagues racing in the British boats. Josh Brannigan in the bows from the Harvard 1V. You've got 3 of them. Gabe Obholzer in the 3 seat. And Cameron Bakey. He knows who he's racing, but the Australians, I have to say, that's a great move from them early doors.
Yeah, a good start by them, but it's GB's Bowball who got across 500 meters gone in front of Australia, New Zealand, Germany, all within 1 second of each other. The USA and Italy slightly further adrift, but it's still anybody's race. But GB look really calm and cool, underrating most crews here.
Yeah, the British 8 have impressed here, and the word is from the British team that we haven't seen the best of this 8, either in the heat or the semi-final, and they are really going to open it out. So the coaches are saying. Kieran Clark works with this crew. Beautiful rhythm being set by Cam Tasker, the 21-year-old Husky. Rode in the Husky 3 V8, so he missed out on the fun in the 1V and 2V. But he's got a nice rhythm around the back turn, hasn't he, there, Tim?
Yeah, it's a lovely loose rhythm. And, of course, returning Cox, Tom Bryce, there knowing what is needed to get a gold medal here in the men's 8 as they move out to almost half a length ahead of this crew from Germany. Little look to to his right by the stroke of that German 8 for Ola Bartenbach, but they also look really nicely put together. Combination crew built around the Cole Berkeley athletes here, and 4 crews now separating themselves, Martin. GB in that gold medal position, but very little splitting New Zealand, Germany and the Australians at the moment.
Yeah, I'd have to say New Zealand, to me, are in a really good position to get on the podium placing. The Australians have been so brave. USA, we know they've got a fantastic second half of the race. But, you know, in an 8th racing where you've got a bit of a tail breeze, that is such a big distance to make up. And don't think it's going to happen in the way that it did for the USA 4 that dominated their race yesterday.
Yeah, I feel GB are now trying to get that clear water margin here in the 3rd quarter. A little bit of a push. I think more power than rate, because that rhythm from Great Britain still at that 38 strokes a minute. But you can see them slowly but surely getting clear water now as New Zealand move into that silver medal position here. Also a great rhythm. The 7 and 6 seed there rode for Washington. Short and Fitzpatrick, they were winners on the American collegiate circuit, and you can see the power flying off the end of the blades from the Kiwis.
Yeah, I was talking to Finn Hamill, the amazing Kiwi sculler, earlier in the week. He said, I'm really looking forward to seeing these Kiwis. They've really come up through this competition because, you know, I think early doors they didn't have the greatest of rows, but in this final they have performed. They've now got an overlap on the British. They've got through the Germans. Sensational performance from the Kiwis. The Australians, they're finding the going tough. I think the Americans will probably get through the Australians, but I'm not sure they can get on the coattails of Germany.
No, it's a big ask to get ahead of this German 8. Germany really putting in everything. They were quickest boat out on the water, trying to cling on to that New Zealand 8. Australia, I feel, struggling a bit. The United States at 43 strokes a minute outside of the picture here, but really going for it.
Australia, where have they found that energy from to try and move back on the Germans? What a sensational finish from the Australians. They got rode through by the Americans in the heat. They're not getting rode through today. They could grab a bronze medal, but at the moment that medal place belongs to Germany in the green boat. New Zealand, are they coming back on the British? What a fantastic finish from the Kiwis. Could they beat the red hot favourites? It's very close to the line. The British stretch out, they go again. The British have found something extra. The Kiwis and the Germans, the Australians are challenging for that silver and bronze medal. Great Britain are going to take the win. And in 2nd place, it is the Kiwis. And Germany just break the Australians' heart for the bronze medal. And America finished back in 5th, the Italians in 6th. I thought the Kiwis might challenge the British. It was the angle. But what an exciting race that was, Tim.
Yeah, and what a performance by the Great Britain 8. And that's another under-23 men's 8 title for Great Britain. They extend their streak, which started all the way back in 2019 with another gold medal.
5:29, sub 5:30 for the Brits. Not the fastest condition of these crossfit. New Zealand, amazing effort to get a silver medal from those boys. There they are. Yeah. Claps from the New Zealand 5-man. Nick Bryan there. Henry Kirk. Applause for the race. You can see the wind, it's nearly blowing them into the pontoons at the end. Not sure how many Kiwis have made their presence felt in the grandstands. Long way to come. Confirmation of the 3 medalists there. Australia, USA and Italy have to settle for the minor placings. That was a great race to end with.
Yeah, and I'm sure, I mean, you mentioned the Kiwi supporters. I'm sure they're tuning in to this live stream, although it will be somewhere in the middle of the night in New Zealand.
Yeah, it will be in the middle of the night, but, you know, they're a hardy folk, the Kiwis, and it's only coming up to 11 o'clock in Auckland. So this is the medal ceremony, I think, for the women's single sculls. And the Arctic Council member, Masakuni Hotsubuchi, accompanied by our colleague here doing so much for the video and the timing, Adrian Kozulski, organising committee member. Looks very smart in his jacket. So here is the Australian. What a sensational result from Remy Cantwell, the 22-year-old medic. Didn't have a right to be on the podium after that disastrous first stroke, but she's made her own history by getting back into the race.
Yeah, recovering well. Silver medalist here from Greece, Eleni Diviati.
17 years of age. Hails from Corfu, the island on the west coast of Greece.
Well, here's the under-23 world champion from Switzerland, Aurelia Maxima Janssen.
Fifth time of asking. I wonder how she'll get on in the World Championships this year. She's only 21 as well. And podium is where she's accustomed to being, certainly in the under-23s. And the Swiss national anthem, testament to that. So Janssen wins another gold medal, and by the biggest margin of these championships. Over 10 seconds she headed the scullers from Greece and Australia. Nikki van Sprang got an Australian flag ready for Remy Cantwell there.
Yeah, and here a few of the Swiss supporters, and we could hear a little bit of the cowbells in the background, which have been quite loud this weekend.
Yeah, they have, and both Tim and I have got headphones on, but we could hear the cowbells ringing through our headphones. And great shot there from the top of the grandstand. The flag of Poznan flying in the breeze there, the northerly breeze. The special pontoons you can see there, because the level of water in this lake is much lower. They've emptied the lake, do it once every 4 years to clean it, and it's sort of about almost 2 meters lower than it should be. So the organising committee have had to make Herculean arrangements to make sure this championship has been able to go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm very pleased to say, in the end, I mean, despite all the effort, or well, thanks to all the effort, this tournament has been running so smoothly.
Yeah, it has.
In these difficult conditions. I mean, you mentioned, yeah, the water level is so much lower than when we were here last year. And they have made loads of accommodations and sort of solutions to make sure the athletes are able to row on the lake. And here's the medal table.
Yeah.
You will be pleased, Martin.
No, I'm pleased. The thing I'm pleased about is Turkey are, you know, in third place in the medal table. To me, that I think our sport is healthy if we've got nations like Turkey in that sort of position on the medal table. Great Britain have all the money. They've got kids at American colleges. Turkey don't have that resource, and they're still there. Switzerland with that gold medal from Aurelia Maxima Janssen. Czechia, again, that fantastic gold medal from the men's quad. Netherlands down in 9th place. They were top nation in the Olympics. Just shows, you know.
Yeah, that's although I have to say the Dutch weren't here with a very large contingent, what also struck me, we talked a lot about the German athletes as well, and they got, I think if I saw correctly, 5 silver medals. Of course, that's not great for your ranking on the medal table, but still, that's a great
No,
haul.
I'd say Germany have had a great regatta as well. I'd say France have had a good regatta, not a great regatta. They did get a crew onto the podium. It's nice to see from the medals, the South African medalists there from the lightweight single sculls. And I think the Great Britain, it's interesting, they got those 4 golds. They didn't get any silver or bronze medals. Probably not quite the standard that they showed at last year's World Championships, but, you know, very healthy bill to take back to Caversham, the National Training Centre, and they'll certainly be pleased with their top place on the podium. But the question is, you see, when you get crews in the small boats like Turkey, they can compete at the front of the field, and you know, they're 3rd place on the medal table with 3 golds.
Yeah, an amazing performance, and of course we had the European Under-23 Championships, I think in the first week of September, and probably we'll see a large Turkish squad there as well. Yeah, I'm curious to see if they sort of can build on these performances and sort of move through to the senior level, because I'd love to see the more athletes from Turkey on the World Rowing Cups and the World Championships doing well.
Yeah, and I think that's not necessarily a straightforward journey. You know, we have seen them at World Cups, and they're not yet in the A final, so to speak, but you know, this is a gradual process. They're on the road towards Los Angeles, and this is a fantastic first step. We're looking at the grandstand, as you can see there, the special pontoon. The men's 8s have been getting into that pontoon. It's a bit of a difficult job because they don't have as much frontage because the lake is so much lower, but the Germans, the Kiwis and the British, and I'm sure if you're watching in New Zealand now, it's coming up to 11 p.m. on Sunday in Auckland, certainly. You'll have been waiting up to see your boys getting that fantastic silver medal. And Finn Hamill, he was right, wasn't he, when he said, you know, keep an eye out for the Kiwi 8. They're really something special.
Yeah, and I think they really grew into this tournament because when we saw them racing in the semi-finals, I didn't automatically think, oh, there's a podium contending crew. And they weren't the quickest crew, but they did well to get the silver medal.
So the waters of this lake will resume being calm and unruffled after all the activity. As the championship started, I think, back on Wednesday. And flags are at the ready. The Union flag in the centre of those flagpoles. I think the various protocols, the athletes will come off, they'll kind of want to shake hands and give each other slaps on the back and the rest of it, and then the people organising the medal ceremony, there's the medal presentation party just making its way onto the podium. The guys that are organising it from Event 360 will want to get everyone in the right order, bow to Cox.
Yeah, at least that's the plan, and usually all the athletes are very obliging, being happy to receive a medal, but it's a bit of a logistical nightmare with the 8 sometimes. But I'm sure we'll manage. I think everybody's getting into position right now. As we can see, the women's sculls out here is the VC music, so that means we're starting. Here they are.
Matthias Binder there, the World Rowing Executive Committee and the Organising Committee Executive Director. The big guns out for this. Done a great job. Aliskander Daniel stood there to be so proud of what Poznan has achieved.
Yeah, and we're starting with the bronze medalists from the men's 8. Here come the German 8, or they're about to. Yes, here we are. We have Leon Gronbach in the bow seat, and then we move to Sven Achterfeld, Paul Martin, Lino Zastrov, and Johannes Benin also in that crew, together with Noah Unger.
From the cow boat, of course, Noah Unger, yeah.
Those are, so the 5th, 6th and 7th seat, that includes Maximilian Fauch. Those were the CAL crew members around which this German 8 was built. And of course, let's not forget the stroke of that crew, Olle Bartenbach, who provided his crew with a bulletproof rhythm all the way down the course.
And I think a word for Sadeep Yagoda, the coxswain from Besser Ruder Club. And it's great to see him in action. Did a great job.
They're getting a few cheers, aren't they?
Yeah.
New Zealand, the Kiwi 8, we mentioned them before. Edward Lopez, Cody Johnson there, that's the bow pair.
Raven in the South Island.
Matthew Waddle.
The nephew of Rob
Waddell, yeah. Nicholas Bryan also was in the powerhouse of that crew, together with Henry Kirk. And of course, the two athletes from Washington, Benjamin Short and Harry Fitzpatrick. And Fred Feversel from in the stroke seat, together with Oliver Duncan. Cox.
Yeah, he got a gold cox in the women's cox fours at last year's under-23s, where they basically said he was fantastic. His calls were incredible. And he's got another gold medal now, this side with the men. I mean, what a set to have for the 21-year-old, the youngster. But here come the British. They fulfilled their tag as favourites. Josh Brannigan from the Harvard 1v8, Tristan Wenger from Princeton. Gabe Obholzer rode with his dad in the Barcelona Olympics, and Gabe off on his way to Cambridge next year. The Oxford Brooks Osborne, Richard Hall's great to see Brooks getting on the gold medal podium after such a troubled year. Cam Becky, again from Harvard, and then the two men from Yale. Harry Geffin gets a 4th straight gold medal, never been done before by a man, from the Yale 8. Ben Mead as well from Yale. Cam Tasker, we talked about him in the stroke seat. Tom Bryce, the ultra marathon running 18-year-old Cox from Oxford Brooks. And a shout out, I think, to Harry's dad, Rob, who's not well enough to be here this week, but he's at home watching this, and very proud that Harry Geffin has got 4 consecutive gold medals. But it's not about one person, it's about the team, and here's the national anthem for the British, for the 4th time of asking, over the waters of Poznan's Lake Malta. Mostly big smiles in the British boat there, as they sung a rousing version of God Save the King.
Yeah, here comes Nicky van Sprang again, providing everybody with their nation's flags.
3 flags. How many flags have they got? Plenty. And Nicky, of course, he's part German, isn't he?
Yeah,
so
he is.
Yeah, he's Dutch and German.
Yeah, he knows several of the German athletes very well. And then there's again the logistical nightmare of getting everybody in the picture.
Yeah, in the photographs. British spectators, of course, none of them have left the grandstands. Plenty there enjoying the last few moments of what has been a wonderful Under-23 World Championships. We're coming to the end of our broadcast now, and thoughts of how hard these athletes have worked through this year, trying to combine their studies with rowing and recovery. That's just been all the athletes here, not just those that we've seen win medals on the podium. It's been a fantastic championship. It's a record-breaking entry. Of course, their minds will now slowly shift from this championships to the Los Angeles Olympics, where many of them will hope to gain a place. But the senior athletes in the team, well, they'll say, you've got to push us out first. It's been a wonderful championships, Tim.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful championships indeed. And just wondering, of all the races we've seen today, which one was your favourite and why?
Yeah, and I think that's a great question, and I do really find trouble looking back, but I have to say the men's singles. I just think it was great to see Takir win, but I love seeing that Goncalves get that medal for Portugal here on a shoestring, and they're leaving with a bronze medal. What about you, Tim?
Well, I thought you might say the men's single, so I would go for the men's quad. I really loved the way Czechia produced a phenomenal race to push through and get the gold medal, being in the silver medal position for most of the way.
Two great races to take memories back home, and we hope you've enjoyed this presentation from World Rowing. Thank you to our director Damien, who's doing such a great job, and the camera crew providing fantastic pictures. I'm Martin Cross. With me has been Tim Van Vliet. World Rowing will go again in Trakai in 2 weeks for the Junior World Rowing Championships. Streaming will come from there too. Don't you miss it. But for now, from me, Martin Cross, and Tim Van Vliet, it's bye.
Yeah, thank you, and bye. See you in Trakai.